Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
little pad thai journey. I don't know
I mean,
much about you, Anita. I wanna learn about you. When did you start streaming?
3 years ago.
Really?
Um, mhm. And I went. Oh, if you look at my social blade, my career was a bit odd. I went from like 20 viewers to like 15k viewer average in like a month. It was ridiculous. It just went and suddenly everyone was here because someone from Kotaku did a really mean article about me saying
Oh
that I
my
was faking
god.
my condition and stuff.
Oh
Um,
my god.
so loads of people stormed into my stream just like, who the fuck is this bitch? What you doing? Stop that. And I was like, I completely understand why you might not understand how Tourette's works. But here, let me explain how Tourette's works. And I didn't think that I fit the stereotype either, and that's how I went with that diagnosis for years. But you can doubt me if you like, and I totally understand. I have a nice day, and they're like,
I love
I think
you,
I'm gonna stick around
QTCinderella.
actually. And I ended up with like I've had a yeah I've had a pretty stable stream ever since. Like I had a massive spike where I went viral, and I thought everyone would leave, and loads of
Yeah.
people stayed, and I'm still here, waiting for people to get bored of me.
Well, I guess thanks Kotaku. I mean, we hate you, but I guess it all worked out. That's
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have like you're familiar with how the media can be because you were on that. I didn't know that they
Mhm.
interviewed you too for that
Yeah.
article recently.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know. I actually uh I need to figure out exactly what, because I know some other streamers that have the same problem with just the creep shots and bullshit. And I pay a company to take them down because they upset me so much, which sounds stupid, but they really do. It really bothers me. It like eats me up. It makes me feel awful. And but I know some other streamers I've been talking to that their one of their mods somehow figured out how to take it down. So like there's potential in not having to pay a company, which sorry if that company's watching, but I prefer not to pay you because it's just an awful thing to have to pay for. But so I'm hoping to message their mod and figure out exactly what he figured out to get him taken down. But hopefully with the article and stuff, Reddit will actually start doing something about it.
I kind of
But who
feel
knows?
like I have the option, but at the same time, I have little faith that it'll make too much of a difference because these people will just DM each other and trade these Photoshop
Yeah,
pictures and stuff anyway. But also, it
yeah,
just feels like it's something else that these guys get to take away from me because not only are they taking my dignity and not only are they forcing me to sexually soliciting me against my will, but on top of that they're also taking thousands of my pounds of my money away a month that I could be using
that's a
to
good
help my
point.
mom. Yeah, so like they're already
That
like women have to
sucks. I
yeah
haven't thought about it
women
that way.
yeah
They
we
won
have
my
to
money
pay
too.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to pay more to be a streamer, and it's bullshit because like already so many jobs it's more expensive to be a
I
woman.
love
Like you
you,
have to wear high heels and
QTCinderella.
you have to buy makeup and you have to spend an extra
Has
hour
it been
being
half a year
presentable to be an
already?
acceptable level of presentable for most jobs than men do. So most jobs that women do too, it's harder for them because they're paying more and they're taking more time. Um, and they're in more pain because things like high heels hurt and stuff, and it applies to Twitch streaming too because we're literally having to pay to not be sexually solicited, which is not something that guys have to pay for on the platform. So being at a what 3 to 5 thousand pound disadvantage every month compared to any other male streamer is sucks because that inhibits my ability to travel, to rent hotels, to collaborate, to get security, to go to more events, to have more free time. I'll have to stream longer so I can afford not to be sold sexually by strangers, and that seems like an extra barrier to me, and I don't really feel very keen to let that be a part of my streaming career.
I'm gonna level the playing field and I'm gonna make a Reddit dedicated to photoshopped porn of the men. That's what I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm standing up. I'm standing up for all the women. And if they want it taken down, they have to pay me, and then everything will be level. I think it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Who do I start with? I'll start with Ludwig. It'll be fair. He'll be fine.
Mm.
It was funny because like one time Ludwig posted this picture of his like just his butt, not like naked, but like he has a great butt. but he posts this picture of his butt like in front of the fireplace for he lost a bet or something, so he tweeted it. And I was like, I could never do that. It's so unfair because if I did that, there would literally be people like DMing me saying they were like jerking to it or like whatever. And it's like it was a very funny thing. Like he was just doing it as a funny thing. And so it's just like so lame that we can't even be funny. Like we can be funny, but like you know what? It's such cheap humor that we have to not do, and it's stupid because I thought about recreating the photo because I thought it'd be really funny if it's like I recreated the photo like or his exact same like shorts and whatever and did it. Then I was like, no, it's not worth it because it's just gonna end up everywhere and then. But it's lame. But it would have been funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I really wish I could be funny too with my body, but no, like that's it. Nobody sees the humor in it. It's one of the reasons why people like women aren't funny. And it's like, well, if a dude can dress up in a maid for outfit and you'll laugh, but if a woman dresses up in a maid outfit, you scream at her and call her a whore and then quietly fap in the corner. Of course, we're not gonna be as funny. We don't have as many avenues to be funny. Like if I joke about my vagina, people don't laugh.
They think it's
They're
gross.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like,
So
oh
like,
god.
But dudes can joke about their dick all day.
And it's funny.
And people laugh and clap. So, like, we don't have as many avenues. And also, women could be dickheads on stream and people laugh and clap. But when women are dickheads on stream, we're undateable. So people
we're
chide
bitches.
us for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
so, like, we have fewer avenues where people will actually laugh at the same behavior. So, of course, people think we're unfunny because they refuse to laugh when we behave the same way as men who are considered funny. What are we supposed to do? We have to invent our own standard, and it's hard.
Yeah. It's almost like I had a gamer moment where I just like raged out of my mind and it got put on a clip in LSF and it was just like became a hate thread. You know how that goes. And it's just funny because it's like fucking Tyler 1 has a gamer moment every day. XQC has a gamer moment every day. No one's saying he's a bitch. No one's saying he shouldn't exist. No one's saying these like it's just crazy. It's so crazy. It's an awful place to exist, and a lot of people, sometimes when I talk about this, a lot of people will be like, oh, you're just complaining, or like, this isn't real, and it's like, no, you're just lacking perspective. Like, if you want to see perspective of what it's like to be a female streamer versus a male streamer, honestly, just look at the unbanned forums. Look at the unbanned forums. Like, there's your first major difference. Like, you will never see the derogatory comments in the same extent in a male's unbanned forums that you would in a female's. It's sad.
You know what I'm really struggling with though at the moment is that this is my daily experience. This is all that people ever do to me every single day in some way or shape or form. To the point where I've had 7 different people, the NBC, the BBC, the Daily Mail, and like 2 or 3 other major news outlets get in contact with me to talk about stalking, sexual harassment, and what it's like to be a female streamer. And I want to have fun. I want to laugh. And I'm being backed into a corner where I spoke up about this once and now it's all people see me as. So you have 2 choices. You can either be a good content creator and everyone laugh and enjoy your content, or be written off as someone who just complains about men all the time because that's all that people ask you to do and then they point the finger at you for it. And I don't want to be defined by what other people do to me anymore. I don't want all of my content to be me talking about what men are doing. I want it to be myself. Like when I got to hang out with Miko, I had so much fun. We got drunk, we messed around, and it was a really great stream, and people really enjoyed it. But then every other stream where I actually sit with chat, or when I actually speak to any officials or like people to do with the industry whatsoever, whether it's the media or not, they all just want to talk about what guys are doing to me, and I'm bored of it. I'm so done with the conversation. I've been done with it for years, and yet people keep backing me into it every single day. I'm just tired.
You know, the perfect example of it is Casey Tron, actually. Casey Tron and I were in Texas, and we were talking about this. It's just like, sometimes, like, because I'm bad at this, Casey's bad at this, is being likable, right? Because 65% of the audience on Twitch is male. And those people want to relate to somebody, or they want to sometimes just watch a girlfriend simulator. And the thing with Casey is Casey gets backed into a corner all the time, and she speaks her mind. She speaks her mind over and over and over again, and people despise that about her. And so it's like this balance of like, well, do you just shut up and just put on a like smiley face and then you get more views? Because Casey is really fucking talented. Like, she comes up with very creative things, and her views aren't there, and it blows my mind. And we were talking about it, and she was like, well, it's just because I'm not likable. I don't come off likable. And I'm like, It's just crazy. It's crazy. And it's frustrating because I feel like, I feel in the same boat. I think I could, if I acted a little different, I think I could double my view count. But I don't know. It's one of those things where it's kind of like what you said. It's like, it's exhausting to talk about it, but it's also like impossible not to, because I want to stand up for myself, because I spent years of my life as a woman being told to shut the fuck up. And so it's like I want to stand up for myself when I can, but I understand it's annoying for the community to watch, and it's bad for like my reputation. Like, I don't want to be that negative person that's always da 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 da. That's why when that article came out, I read it to my chat and I said, I don't care about any women reading this and talking about this on their stream, because I understand the repercussions. I really do. Because being a vocal woman, you yourself know the DMs that come through about, like, I'm going to slit your throat to shut you up, and, like, if I could only choke you, like, God, you think you're so smart and your women are dumber than men. Like, just stupid misogynist bullshit that you get DM'd after you talk about any of this stuff. And it also gives more attention to it. You talk about a not safe for work Reddit, and it gets 100 extra followers, and you're like, great, that was the opposite of what I wanted to do. It's the Streisand effect. So there's a lot of women that literally just don't want to talk about it, and I do not blame them. But as I read it, I said, Hassan, Mizkif, fucking XQC, Ludwig, like, you guys have to fucking talk about this. You have to stand up for your coworkers. You have to say something, because we're exhausted and our voice is so small, and we get called names when we even stand up for ourselves. So it's like this forever, like, drowning journey. So I just hope that every single time I talk about it, it makes it a little more normal for, like, these guy streamers to stand up for us too, because I mean, they're good people. Like, Miz is a great guy, and he knows when to use his platform for good things, and same with all the guys. So, but yeah, but now there's all that, like, stuff at Blizzard. I don't really know a lot about that.
I don't know. I kind of feel like it's true. The kind of people who do this are not going to listen to us because they hate women. If they like women, they wouldn't be lonely and trying to look for, like, a random female streamer to be a girlfriend simulator for them. But, like, they don't listen to women, so they'll have to hear it from a dude. But I don't want a dude to be my savior. So the way that I have, like, I don't want to go, oh, Mr. Man with a big viewer count, could you save me from the naughty boys on the internet by telling them off? Because that would totally help me. What I want to do is I want to get people to actually empathize with me and, see it for what it is. So what I started to do, one of the things that I creatively thought of as a solution was, I was tired, I was dreading these messages, so I started screenshotting them and having a thirst day where we laugh at the most ridiculous things I've had said to me in the week on Thursdays. But I got a lot of backlash from it because guys don't relate to me because I'm a woman. They put themselves in the position of the guy being ridiculed for hitting on me, and they're like,
"Oh
what
my
if he
God!"
Has the most common response to people. So I will get, like, a screenshot of a guy saying, "Oh, I'm gonna fuck you in the ass because you used to self-harm, and I can tell you're into pain, bitch." And I'm like, and then, like, I will put this on, like, on my show and be like, "Wow, this guy is a charmer," and, like, instead of people laughing along with me, what they did was go, what if he has autism and no social cues? I mean, what if you're abusing someone who's mentally ill? That poor guy just wanted to fuck, and you're ridiculing him even though he thinks you're beautiful. You're such a horrible bitch.
It's a
And
compliment. It's a compliment.
And people were just angry at me for not taking the compliment. So I just, and people were like, why don't you do more Thursday? And it's like, I tried, because what I thought was, I'll make it into content. It's not benefiting me right now, but I can switch it around. I can make it beneficial to me, right? And that's not what happened. People just got mad at me for not enjoying it.
That's how it's crazy, because when I first found out about, like, the Reddit and stuff like that, I, like, was talking to two of my girlfriends, and I was like, this is disgusting, and literally one of my girlfriends replied to me, and she was like, it's a compliment that men find you hot enough to, like, jerk off to. And I was like, that's not a fucking compliment. You've been brainwashed. Like, that's not a compliment. Like, if it was my job, if I was making money for that, if I had, like, consent to that, then sure, yeah. If that's what I was selling and they were buying it, hell yeah. Like, I will take pride in that. But no, it's non-consensual. It's very, like, oh God, it's so sad. Because there's even, like, females that are just brainwashed to think, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I'm in a weird position because I don't really view myself as particularly attractive at all, and I get really confused that I get this rush of this kind of behavior when there are literally people out there, streaming butt first, being like, "That are beautiful," and are like, "Hey, could you give me this kind of attention? I'm perfectly happy to engage with you," and they're like scrolling past those girls who
Yeah.
are actually inviting it and are like cool with it, and they're finding me, and I'm like, "What?" Like it's like I don't know if someone was like really hungry and they went to the supermarket and like they could have bought food, but they bought a tennis racket instead. And I'm like, but you're starving, and that's literally designed to fill you up. The tennis racket's not gonna do that for you. Why have you picked the what? And that's how I feel when people are scrolling through Twitch looking to like sexually engage and talk dirty and stuff, and they pick me. And I'm like, what?
I'm with you. I'm with you. I think it blows my mind. I'm the same way. I'm like, why are you like sexualizing me when Mia Malkova exists? Like, what, are you insane? Like, are you crazy? Like, you could Google Mia Malkova and you could see her naked in seconds. And for some reason, you're taking the time to Photoshop my face on a bullshit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, you psychopath? Like,
Can I tell you the psychology of it? Because I love
yes,
reading about.
yes. I think that's fascinating.
Okay, so basically, some people um are there's so much sexual content. It's really easy to get sexual content, but it's not easy to feel a connection. A lot of these people aren't just horny, they're lonely.
Oh
So they
no.
spend yeah, so they spend hours and hours of their day listening to you, connecting with you. They feel like they relate to you and they really like you as a person. And so they yearn for a closer connection with you. They yearn to make that sexual. They yearn to know you in that way. And the closest way that they can do that is by making something sexual out of you because you haven't provided it yourself. And the fact that you haven't provided it yourself actually makes them more connected to you because they'd feel really distanced from someone who volunteered it. And the reason why someone who volunteers it doesn't get as many views and isn't as adored is because if she's offering a connection and a way to buy a view of her boobs,
I
it
love
feels
you,
like they're being
QTCinderella.
manipulated. It doesn't feel real, it feels disingenuous.
People,
It feels like
hey.
she's just trying to lure you into buying pictures of her tits. And so when you actually offer the content freely, guys feel vulnerable and intimidated and they feel like the connection isn't real. They're just being coerced. They don't feel like that
Oh
if you don't
my
have any sexual
god.
content to offer. So you offer something that feels like a wholesome fat. And the reason why I attract it especially is because I have a neurological disability. So people feel wholesome for sexualizing me because they looked past my disability. I trigger the white knight in people. They feel like I'm such a good guy for finding her hot. I deserve such a pat on the back. If only we could meet each other, she'd totally blow me because I'm such a nice guy because I don't judge her for disability. And so like that whole psychology is amped up so much for me because people think they're amazing for looking past the fact that I'm considered broken or flawed.
Listen, if if any of you are watching this and you're like, I feel so close to QTCinderella, we're not friends. I need you to know this, okay? Don't feel close to me. You don't fucking know me. We're not close, guys. Don't even. Oh god.
I have a different perspective. Like I am close to my viewers. I do know them. I recognize
That's
their
nice of
usernames
you.
and-
Prez friend.
Yeah, like I have a Discord community. I see them talking there. I look. I watch how they treat other people. I admire them. Sometimes I slip them a DM. Like I just want you to know I see what you do in my community, and you're one of the reasons why it's an amazing place to be. Like I do appreciate people there. Like and but like I do that, but I have to do it with care because I have to be watchful that these people aren't going to think latch onto it because some people have, including women. Like some women have gotten utterly obsessed with me and gotten really creepy and stuff. So like I tread that line regardless though because I think it's important. I do like I don't want to forget that these people are not just following me, they're making an environment for each other. I attract a lot of people who aren't neurotypical, but also neurotypical people see me, understand what Tourette's is, and treat loads of people with Tourette syndrome who have nowhere else to go to socialize really awesomely and just like another person really casually in my community. So we've built something really cool.
Yeah, that is very unique.
Yeah, and I appreciate that and I love that about my community. I love that they support each other, like they help each other pay for vet bills and things like that, and we buy therapy sessions for people who can't afford it, and we do lots of really important stuff for each other, and I like that. It's just scary because that there's like a bunch of people in that group who are like ticking time bombs where if you give them one drop of attention, they'll camp in front of your house and wait
Yeah.
out there with a knife, because I've had that too. So like it's scary to know that and still try to connect with the people who watch my stream. Like it's scary to know that I have to make the choice to risk
Yeah.
everything just to appreciate people, which I don't feel like you get in any other job.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, we have a really good community, and I think it's more just like my mods are in charge of it. Like, as the first thing I ever learned when the first like week of streaming, there was a big female streamer that somehow I was talking to her. I don't remember how. I was just luck of the Irish. I don't know. I was talking to her, and she said to me, she said, "Here's your number one rule: close all of your DMs. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how small you like. I don't care wherever you go. First things first, close all of your DMs and never respond to anyone." And I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "Well, that's how you get stalkers. You send one nice message or you reply to one nice message, and then the next day they say how are you. The next like it doesn't stop. They it gives them an opportunity to speak to you, and they see you as a human instead of as this celebrity untouchable figure. And it's safer if you're that untouchable figure." And so literally since that like very first week, that's what I've had to do. And if anyone wants to message me or if I like appreciate what someone's doing, I always do it like in Discord in the general chat. So everyone can see it, but it keeps that separation still alive. And even then a lot of the times I will say to my mods, "Hey, will you message this person and say great job, or will you message this person and get their PayPal or whatever. And so luckily for me, the biggest thing that I think has kept me safe is really just putting my mods as the forefront to keep that, because I just was lucky enough to learn that early. But you're right, it's hard because at the end of the day, you're human. I'm human. We're all human, and we want to be a good human. And when you see really great things, it's like you want to appreciate that, and you want to cultivate a community, but you also want to be safe. And it's like shit. Like I think that's something. I think another reason that happens to women more than men is because we're more emotional beings, and that's just part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like I am going to feel bad if someone in my chat is having a bad day. Like, but unfortunately, like I can't put that on myself to reach out to them. Otherwise, I'll be reaching out to hundreds of people every
I
single day. But it's very interesting. I
Yeah.
I appreciate your approach to it, but I could never do that. That sounds terrifying.
It is scary, but I don't want to stream just for me
Yeah.
because I kind of feel like the things I would do for me are completely different. This doesn't, if this on its own, just talking to a camera or just like dicking about playing a game on a camera would never be enough for me. I think I'd quit streaming if it was just for me because like I would rather be doing animal rescue work. That's what I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
So like I kind of feel like if I wasn't engaging with my viewers and hanging out with them on Discord and playing games with them and egging them on and encouraging them to try stuff and everything, I don't think I'd really get enough out of streaming
That's
to
so
continue.
sweet. Oh my god. That is so sweet.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think I think that's a great way to think about it. I think all of my energy goes into like, so when I started streaming, I was really focused on like making friends, and it went from trying to make friends with chat because that's I was just really lonely. I wanted people to talk to. And then it turned into making friends with like other streamers. And that's what
Mhm.
I've been more passionate about, because those people are ones that you're like, well, they're not going to murder me. I don't think Maya will murder me, and so like I can start going to Maya's house and stuff like that. So I think that's where I shifted it, because I feel the same way. If there was no relationship development, I don't think I would survive. But yeah, it's very interesting to hear that you feel so close with your community. I think that's like really admirable. I'm not kidding. That's amazing. I think I always know what my mods are doing, but the rest of my community, I see it. I'm always watching it. I always see it, but I don't know that much about them. So it's very cool to hear that.
Thank you. I mean, I know one of them's in the military, but he's contracted and he wants to leave. And when he does, he's going to catapult his life into stuff that he really cares about. I know that there's someone who used to be in personal security who's retired. I just know lots of like life stories of people
Yeah.
out there, and I like that too because I get to learn from them, and I like listening to who people are and stuff. So it's a window into people's lives that I missed out on because I was really isolated growing up, and
Yeah.
I was lonely too. I totally relate to that. Like I tried to look friends for friends in chat when I first started. When I had like 20 viewer average, I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, friend,
That
hello.
was the
Um,
best. That was the best time of my life. The 20 viewers. Oh man. That was great. I loved that.
Yeah, I love that. I missed it when I went up to like even just like 100 viewer average. I started to miss it because like you could have a personal interaction with everybody who hopped in, you knew them, you know, it was different, and I missed the having that level of closeness. But I developed some horror stories. I soon
Of
learned
course.
my lesson about that.
Yeah.
And but I don't want to be an untouchable figure because I've listened to untouchable figures and they're fucking lonely.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So I don't want to go full circle from being lonely. So I start streaming. So I start hanging out with people and making friends to keeping them at distance because they're dangerous, and then being lonely again because that just feels like a very big journey back to square one.
Yeah.
So,
That makes
but
sense.
I find it harder to make friends with streamers because I have days where I have a lot of ticks and I have days where I don't, and it's really inconsistent. And I don't want to be an inconvenience to people, and I don't want them to have like an expectation of what I'm going to bring to their content. I don't want them to think I'm a leech,
Oh
and
my
so I'm just like,
god.
I don't. I just give everyone a wide berth, and I'm just like, don't mind me, it's okay. And I've only ever collaborated with people who've asked me, really, usually,
Yeah. That's
because I just
interesting
assume,
to know.
yeah,
Cuz
I just back up.
I mean, give you perspective, and I know this doesn't really work with like anxiety brains because that's the kind of brain I have, but I know a lot of streamers and no one has ever said that or even thought that about you. I swear to God. Like they've never thought of you as an inconvenience or anything. Like everyone thinks you're really fucking cool. Like you have like cool girl syndrome. That's why no one asks you to do anything because they're like, I don't want to bother Sweet Anita. Like she's doing her own thing. Like I don't want to bother her. And so it's just like crazy to hear you say that. Like you'd be open, but it makes you a little nervous. But like holy shit, no one thinks that you're a burden in any way. I think it's it's crazy. It's kind of cool to hear that because now I know like you know me. I feel like I'm always asking people to do shit and stuff like that. So that's I'm sorry you feel that way. I hope you don't feel that way.
Well, you're welcome to
Eventually.
invite me to do anything you want because I'm very open to hang out with people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also worry that because I have a disability and stuff, that people think that if they're gonna be people feel worried about being mean to me. I don't want to feel like people have to feel pressured to be nice to me or anything like that. So like I just let other people ask me if they want, and I just leave everyone alone, like literally
Yeah.
everyone alone. But I'm quite lucky because like I usually just when I'm not streaming and I'm just self-indulging, I'm either spending time with my rabbits or playing Apex with my community.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I like Apex low key. And I feel like one of the craziest things, I don't know about how you feel about sponsorships, but one of my favorite things is that like I would literally pay to play Apex. And yeah,
Really?
I get paid to play Apex, and that is just living the dream. I've been paid, I've been sponsored to do the thing I love doing.
That's sick. That's
Yeah.
sick. Yeah.
I think that's one of the surreal things about being a streamer is that like, you know, everything that you used to feel guilty about not being productive because you were
Yeah.
doing is
Uh-huh.
now being productive. Yeah.
I I have to say I don't think and I'm sure you've experienced a lot of like what you're saying like people treating you differently. Um but you keep saying something that just like isn't true. No one that I know, and I know I don't feel this way. I don't think Anita like when I think of Anita, I don't think of disability. And you keep saying like I have this disability, like it's like people treat me different and stuff like that. I don't even think of that. I think of Anita. You know what I'm saying? Like you are Anita. I don't think of Tourette's. I don't think of anything like that. And I don't know anybody who does. Like you're Anita. You're not this big like burden or anything like that. And it's just like I don't know. I don't know how to describe that to you, but it's interesting to hear your perspective, like your internal voice on it, because that's just not how anyone I know feels or thinks about you. And so you're like saying like, oh, I don't want people to treat me differently or anything like that. Nobody fucking would ever. You know what I'm saying? Like people that every streamer is so blunt and whatever that they just No, they just wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know. So I don't want that to be a hesitation for you or anxiety for you, because I want you to know that people think of Anita first.
Well, thank you. It's very reassuring to hear because, like, it is hard. Like, I get defined by my disability all the time.
Yeah,
like,
I'm
and
sure.
it's a struggle to like get outside and cook, and it's like the first thing people notice about me all the time. And like, it's just difficult because I know that a lot of people really, really notice it. But it's good to know that nobody's really seeing it that way, like internally. Because like I
Yeah.
yeah, like when the whole Among Us wave happened and I was collaborating with a lot of people and people were asking me to play with them, I felt so annoying because I just kept having all these ticks because I'd have so much going on. There's chat,
Yeah.
there's the game, there's so many voices and so much to think about. And like I'd tick and then I'd feel really annoying, like I was talking over people and
Yeah.
I was just intruding and I was like, they're never gonna invite me here again. God damn it! And like, I just feel stressed. I just feel really
Yeah, I
stressed.
understand. That makes sense. From an outside perspective, it makes sense, but I just, yeah, no one, no one that I know thinks to be like that. It's all just like a subcategory of who you are. Like, you think QTCinderella. This is QTCinderella. She's like very loud, kind of fun sometimes. She can bake. That's QTCinderella, right? But then there's like, she also gets angry a lot and loses her temper. And she also like has some like gnarly anxieties about things and blah blah blah. So there's all these other compartments to me, but when you first think of me, it's just like, oh, that's QTCinderella. But and that's how it is with Anita. It's like, oh, sweet Anita. She's super fucking nice. She's super fucking energetic and loud and loving and like this great energy. And then you have your compartments where, oh, she has Tourette's. Oh, she can say very funny things. But I don't think anybody has ever thought like, oh, that's annoying. At least anybody that I know in this world. And so I'm sure you've experienced it throughout your life, and that really fucking sucks, and my heart goes out to you. But Jesus Christ, I want to build you some confidence, at least in like, in at least your coworkers and colleagues, because everyone just thinks you're really fucking awesome.
Well, thank you. I think I'm starting to like, grow some flaps and get out
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Because like I posted in that group, didn't I? I was like, hey, if anyone wants to hang out, and it's not like you like me, so I'm starting to try.
that group is also so dead. I need to just delete it, but
No, don't you dare.
it's nice to
I
have
think.
that list, because now I just have that list and I'll just DM people from it.
Mhm.
But well, when I'm doing stuff, I don't know when the I'm never doing
You
anything
women.
anymore. Yeah, it's really cool. It's my Discord. My chat knows it. I call it my Tampon Discord because it has a Tampax logo for it, but it's just full of a bunch of female streamers, and it's a nice way to get a hold of people. But it kind of died, but whatever. We'll figure it out.
Well, we'll get it active again.
Have you ever traveled to America?
Once or twice, I've been to San Diego. That was very pretty, and I've been to New York. That was kind of like an overpriced, smellier London.
Yeah.
Um, but I would like to see some more of the wildlife. I really like lizards and bugs and stuff. So, and I know that America has a lot of really cool bugs. I want to meet the cicadas. I want to hear them.
Ew. You're
Yeah,
crazy. I hate bugs.
really, I love
Yeah.
bugs. I love bugs. I've got like some cockroaches in a
Oh no.
vivarium right there. Yeah, they're bright green and shiny.
Gross.
And I love feeding them and stuff. They're my friends. Yeah. So like, I want to go over to the U.S. and touch all the bugs and the lizards and you've got mayflies. You got fucking mayflies.
I don't even know what a mayfly is. I have to Google what a mayfly is. I don't want to see it. Am I gonna be mad? Am I gonna be
No,
upset?
they're just glow bugs.
Oh,
Fireflies.
fireflies. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, those things are kind of cool.
Mm.
They're a little creepy, but they're kind of cool. They don't have them in California.
No.
I'm in. Yeah, they have them more. Like I went to Maine one time, and they have them in Maine. But you should go to Texas and go to Alveus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Maya's Animal Sanctuary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to actually. I'd love to meet Stompy.
Yeah, Stompy is the cutest little thing. He he'll run up to you and just like hug you kind of with this weird dinosaur body, and you're like, what the heck?
Like an armless hug.
Yeah, it's like he like cuddles his head on you, and it's very very cute. But
No.
anytime you want to go to Texas, let me know. I'll go with you in case that helps like break the ice. Once this COVID goes a little back down, then yeah, let me know. Listen, I I kind of strongman my way in there. I'll just be like, I'm coming. Whose house am I staying at? And I'll just bring, you'll be my plus one. So don't
Okay.
worry. It'll be really
Yeah,
fun.
that's amazing. But I tick a lot in the kitchen and the bathroom, and it's kind of awkward when I stay at people's houses because I will literally be in the bathroom and someone will pass by and I won't even be shitting, but I will literally go, "I'm shitting!" like just really loudly, or like I'll pass the bathroom and I'll know that there's a light under there, and I'll immediately take something like, "I can smell your shitting," and they'll be like, "What?" And I'm like, "Nothing." I'll just scooch even further back. Like I am a terrible guest. I am so
No, I
annoying.
think that's great. I think that's really funny. That's good. No, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, like it's all well and good until you go to a public bathroom. The amount
Oh,
of times,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Every time I need to
no.
pee in public, it's drama.
Oh, no. I
I
can't
mean, sometimes
imagine.
it can be really dangerous. Like I've walked in the I have an N-word tick, unfortunately, and it doesn't come out too often, luckily. It's chat's fault, but like when I
Yeah.
would I've gone to the public bathroom and there was a bunch of girls in there. They were all black girls just doing their lipstick and makeup in the mirror and stuff and talking. And then I went into the cubicle and I just kept shouting N-word, N-word,
Oh,
N-word, 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 N-word.
no.
I was so scared. I was like, oh no, are they gonna give me a chance to explain? Are they gonna be waiting to beat me up when I come out? Am I like, oh, what's gonna happen? But they just left. They
Oh,
just left.
thank God.
But I
Oh,
feel
that,
worse
yeah,
because
of
I didn't
course,
get
then
to
you didn't get
explain.
explained, so then you feel,
Yeah.
oh, that's so awful.
I love you,
Yeah, and
QTCinderella.
other times I'll just be like, I can hear you shitting, and like three girls in three different cubicles are laughing, and sometimes it's just like really not serious, but
Yeah.
or I'll be like, I can smell the herpes and stuff, but yeah, and that I could laugh that off.
Yeah.
There's an element to it where it's like nobody even knows which cubicle it came from.
No,
So,
yeah.
like
That's why you have
people
to,
just know something silly happened.
yeah. I think that's a good way to
Um,
think about it. That's very
mhm.
frustrating, though. I'm sorry you have to deal with that.
It's all right. You get used to it. I mean, my life has been very, very different to most people's, and in ways that is hard, but in a way it's a total blessing because everyone faces hardship. At least my challenges are interesting. At least I've got a
True.
lot to write about when I get around to that book. It's not stuff. Some people's lives are hard because it's dull, because they don't love their wives or husbands, and they're stuck in a two kids white picket fence hell trap, and they really want to be a drag dancer in New York, and they are, you know, a a, a very well behaved father of three, grinding at a job they'll do till they die. Like that's
True.
a kind of hell as well. But you can't make money off the book about that, and you can't really twist that into your advantage and make something out of it. It's just hard. So I know you're not going to ever live a life where you don't suffer or struggle. It's about finding a life where you're willing to struggle, what a struggle worth living for. And I'm kind of lucky because all of the challenges that Tourette's gives me are the kinds of challenges I can work with and make something good out of. So it could be worse.
Jesus, you're so articulate. I can't wait to read that book. Like the way you speak is beautiful. When
Thank you.
are you working on a book?
I will when I get time, but right now I don't have any time. My mom's ill. She has a disability. I'm looking after her and my rescue animals, and I'm doing Twitch and YouTube and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And so right now it's on the list. I'm gonna do stand up for a while before then. Stand up and write my
Really?
book.
Oh my God. And you're gonna do it live?
Yeah, live stand up. I don't think I want to do it on stream. I want to like go to
Yeah.
places. I want to
Yeah.
go traveling around and do that stuff. But
Oh my
yeah,
God.
that'll be next after streaming and everything. So will you guys hurry up and get bored of me and stop watching me so I can go, right, the view count's low. Now I can finally go. Like I'm not squandering anything. I could just go and stand up and, do my tour and
Yeah.
make people laugh. Because you don't have to, because the thing with Twitch is you have to be a hot girl. Like it's not, people like, you just have to be a hot girl.
We
It's
have
like,
an expiration date. You know what I'm saying? Like like even if you're just females in general on Twitch, Tim the Tatman, you're gonna watch him when he has kids. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna watch Amaranth when she has to like go take care of a baby.
I love you, QTCinderella.
Because you guys are fuckheads, and that's just how it works. You know what I'm saying? I know Tim the Tatman has a kid, but I'm just saying like women have an expiration date on the fucking internet. But until then, just write it.
chicken.
I love that you want to do stand up though. That's something I've always wanted to try. But yeah, that's so sick. That's so sick that you want to do that.
Yeah, I do, because I I I I I used to feel really ashamed of my condition when I hopped on Overwatch for the first time and I was making friends. What I loved about it was I could hide my condition on push to talk, and so people met me and
Oh.
not my condition, and it was so good. I loved it. Because people were reacting to me, and I become a party trick and all that shit. There are people who hate it and get angry with me, and then there are people who love it too much and they're just as bad. So like
Oh.
having, yeah, like
This is
people are,
very
oh, I can't
interesting.
wait. Yeah, yeah, because like some people know what Tourette's is and they're cool with you, but then they're like, I can't wait to show you to my friends. They're gonna laugh at you so much,
Oh my
and then they,
god.
yeah, and that can be really awkward where they're just sat there waiting for you to say the next thing. So like, I, I, I liked hiding it behind push talk, and then when I started streaming, people showed me a different angle to my condition, which is I was born with a passive. I spawned with a passive ability
Yeah.
that most people train for like 40 years and they're still not funny. And I got born funny. I just didn't know it. So like I have the passive ability without even trying to make people laugh. Because I'll ask the taxi driver if I can rest my balls on his bonnet,
Yeah.
and he laughs. And I didn't even choose to say that. That wasn't a thing that I chose to do. So like now that I see it as like this passive ability that I shouldn't ever dare waste,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go do some stand up for a bit and enjoy that, and actually enjoy the chance to be the reason someone smiled and had a great day and had like can be like something that people look forward to, create something that people, yeah, that after a hard
Imagine
day's work, whatever.
imagine your stand up, all you do is just like read a tragic novel and then just let your ticks do the rest. You know what I'm saying? Like you like read A Streetcar Named Desire and then you just wait until your passive kicks in and like as you're reading A Streetcar Named Desire. You don't have to write
I love
anything.
you,
That's sick.
QTCinderella.
That's very
That's
cool.
actually a genius idea.
Yeah, that'd be really funny. Just you should try that. You could just try that on stream one time. Like, okay, guys, today we are reading like about I don't even know like what's the most tragic book?
I have to be careful what I choose because it's not like I could do that with like the boy with the blue striped
No,
pajamas or
yeah,
something.
no.
No, yeah,
You
you
can
have
read
to pick
Marley and
something.
Me. Read Marley and Me. That's a good. Like, yeah, you'll be good there. Uh, I don't think you can mess that one up too far. But
Mm-hmm.
that's fun. I love that.
What are you gonna do after streaming?
I haven't thought about it. So I only went full time streaming a year ago.
Mm-hmm. Wow, you're doing
Um,
so well.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's the hard thing about streaming, right? Is you're never doing well enough. Like, yeah, it's kind of a mind fuck in that way. Um, so I was working full time and then just streaming. I've been streaming for 3 years, but I would work full time and then come home and stream. Um, but I went full time because of COVID because I was an interior designer, and
Uh-huh.
with COVID, obviously things went down a little bit because you couldn't have crews going in and out of houses and stuff like that. So I was like, I think this is like a sign. Like this is the only time I will ever quit my job. Like this is the only time I've ever considered it. So I'm just gonna run with it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I did. And it's been good. I think it's a really hard job. I don't think people realize how much of a mental game it is, but I'm very grateful for it. I just started a alt channel because sometimes like I want to go back to those 20 viewers. You know what I'm saying? I want to go back to the you just want to sometimes. So I created this alt channel. I streamed on it for 3 hours. I didn't get one viewer.
Wow.
And it was very like humbling. Like it really made me like, it reminded me like wow, like this is what it's like.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. It was really 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 cool. It was like weird because the whole idea was I just wanted a few people to talk to, like the good old days. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was very humbling to think like people do this every day and they get no viewers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, how
I've
lucky am
known
I? You know?
I've known people like that. I've got some people in my community and stuff who grinded and grinded and grinded, but nobody showed up. And it's not their failing. It's just sometimes there is a huge aspect of it that's being found and being
Yeah,
seen, and that is luck of the draw.
it is luck.
And it's holding people in place that's the harder part. But like I feel like there's a similar thing that happens in life as what happens with a streamer. You get to your 30s and you stop having as much anxiety about the things you used to in your 20s. You start not giving a fuck about people's opinions. You start being slightly more comfortable and confident in your own judgment. And it's a completely different perspective on life. Usually it takes 30 years to find. And there's like a stage in streaming where you stop caring about that aspect as much and it
Uh-huh.
becomes about what you want out of it more. You just start to prioritize your satisfaction more than the viewer count. And obviously they have to intersect because on one hand, like it's the viewer count that facilitates you doing what you care about to a degree. So sometimes it's about where that meets. But I think when you start, it's all about how do I get that extra viewer? How do I get people to stay? How do I convince people to like me? There's a lot of that anxiety because even if you don't have it straight off the bat, if you're like, I'm just gonna have fun and play games, and people can show
Yeah.
up if they like the whole streamer culture starts to make you feel scared because you start to admire people and want to hang out with them and you think they're really amazing and then they don't give you the time of day because you don't have enough viewers and then all of a sudden you do have enough viewers and they're like hello and you start getting treated really well and there's this positive reinforcement and you're like really risen up and like everyone wants to know you and if your viewership drops they suddenly forget about you and like it gives you this social anxiety that am I enough, do you still like me, kind of thing. And I see a lot of people get torn up, really torn up
Yeah.
by the psychology of that because we're apes and we want to be accepted. And so it can really make people who didn't care in the start hyper obsessed about their view account because it's their worth to all of their friends, you know?
I agree. Yeah. I think I think you're right. I think sometimes it's like I'll feel bad cuz people with little like low views, if I don't know them, and you probably get this all the time, you get DMs saying, "Hey, do you want to stream together, blah blah," and you say they only have 100 views and stuff like that. It's hard to say like the reason I don't reply to that isn't because they just have 100 views. The reason I don't reply to that is cuz I don't know them. And sometimes you don't know someone until you are in this smaller fish pool of all of a sudden they raise up to 2,000 views and you also have 2,000 views. And so that the fish pool is smaller. And so that's how you get to know them is because they're the only ones around you. So it's just a very interesting like way to think about it. And it's like, I feel like sometimes I need to get better at giving that to someone, giving someone my time with the small viewers, because I used to be that too. I remember losing my mind because I couldn't get partner. Like just, it was so frustrating. Right. And so it's like it's hard to want to take your time and use it that way, but I think it is important, and I want to figure out a way to do that.
I
don't
got
know.
given partner, but I didn't know.
Oh,
So
really?
it was hilarious. I got given partner and I had no idea for so long because I have so many emails and it got lost.
Yeah.
And so everyone was like, "You've got so many viewers. Why aren't you partner? Why aren't you partner? Why aren't you partner?" And I
You're
was
like,
like, "I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I applied." And I was like, maybe they just don't want someone who has Tourette's like being a partner because I say some really inappropriate stuff, and maybe they just don't want someone like me representing them. And I was just like, I can understand that. I can't control what I say. I don't need partner to have fun with you guys and that sort of
Yeah.
thing, right? And they nudged my management like, could you, for the love of God, could you get her to read her messages, please? They're just like, about that, could you check your messages? Like, could you check? Could you? And I went and checked, and I was like,
Oh. I've done that a time or two. Well, I'll be like so mad that I'm not invited to like Twitch rivals, whatever. I'll be like, I can't believe they didn't invite me, and then I check they like, sent me an email 4 days prior, and I'm like, oh, that's
yeah.
so awkward. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need to check for emails more.
it's hard. They
But
get buried.
they do. I mean, I'm looking for a PA at the moment. It's hilarious. So I can't use like LinkedIn and stuff. They ask for details. I'm not giving to anyone because I don't want to die.
Of
So
course.
yeah, so like I had to just tweet. I was like, fuck it, I've needed a PA for like 2 years, let's go. So I was like, PA needed. Here's the email, send your CV over. So I was expecting people to lead with their CV, whereabouts they live in the UK, what their experience is, and why they think they're good for the job.
Oh no.
What I actually got was people like, I live in Sweden, but I'm a loving guy who can cook you breakfast every day, and I would love to marry you. I will look after you and your mom. I will do anything you say. Please step on me, kind of messages. I tweeted one recently. I probably will find more to tweet, just of people who think that if a woman needs help, that all they need is like breakfast and some dick. like that, you know, if that PA jobs don't exist for women. Or that like those tropes of the secretary getting played by the CEO like are true, and that if you answer enough calls, you'll get to sleep with them. I don't know.
Wow. That is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine. Yeah, I think did you consider just making like seeing if a mod was available to do it? Like someone you already know, you know, like someone you're a little more comfortable with?
I mean, they've all known and they have offered to chip in and help wherever they can, but I like to keep things separate. Like, I don't want someone to have lots of roles in my life because then if they get sick or anything, I'm fucked. So,
Yeah.
like, if I need a mod and a PA and my mod PA goes missing or, like, needs to go look after their family for a while, you know, I'm fucked. Like, my editor offered, and
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way I need you to make videos.
Yeah,
Okay, it's
like you
gonna
have
be
to
hard
focus
enough.
on this. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you go on holiday or whatever, I don't have a PA or an editor.
So where are you
So
at with it? Have you found anyone?
there are a few promising people, just like a tiny handful. I feel like I've read like a few hundred and I found like 4 people I'm gonna message back and ask to talk to
Oh,
so far.
okay.
So but yeah, it's I'm getting closer and closer to it. So that would be cool. But they kind of have to be the kind of person who's willing to travel with me because traveling just makes me cry. It's horrible.
Oh, really?
I get
What
stranded.
about it?
I get stranded. Like people don't let me on planes because of my Tourette's and stuff. Like I buy the ticket, they
Oh my
almost let me in the
god.
door. Yeah,
And then you
like
might say something that yeah.
so it
Oh
costed me an
my
extra four
god.
grand to get home from to get home from New York because I kept getting fucked over traveling because of my condition, basically.
Oh my god, I wouldn't have thought about that. Oh,
Don't
that's
ever
hell.
tell. Don't even joke. Don't even never tell the security guard who fills you up that you have a bomb.
Yeah. 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 I could imagine. And when you can't control that. Holy shit, I've never thought of that. I have a fear of flying, so I thought that's where you were coming from. Like, oh, I'm just afraid of it. But no, they literally just like, damn, that sucks. Okay, new goal is you learn how to fly one of those little like single engine planes. And you just take yourself wherever you want to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. So the assistant, what would they do if they traveled with you?
So they'd be able to
Explain
um
everything.
explain everything, make calls for me because I have to call ahead to the
When did
Right.
it become
airport and
6
be like,
months,
I have a
holy cow?
disability. It is Tourette's syndrome. I can walk. Please don't show up with a fucking wheelchair. I just need escorting because if I interact with your staff and they don't know about my condition, it's
I
going to
might
cause
say
multiple
something. Yeah.
situations. Yeah. So like I need to.
Oh
I can't be put in
wow.
a queue because I will spank people.
Oh.
So I
So
push people as
Disneyland would
well.
be like an awful place for you.
I wish I could go to Disneyland, but I would
Dang
probably
it.
yeah. Yeah.
You know what we could go to though? If you come to California sometime, we could go to Universal Studios because they have an option where they just give you a tour guide and so you skip all the lines.
Oh wow.
So there's a way to do it.
Nice.
Yeah, so we
I've
can figure
I've
stuff
been
Whoa, a
out like
year
that.
dang. Keep up the
I've been to
fantastic
Minecraft at
content.
Disneyland. There's someone who has created. He has like a one block
Oh yeah,
project where
I've been
have
there
you
too.
done it?
It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've kind of been to Disneyland.
Yeah. That's
Nice.
interesting. I think Disney has a tour guide thing too, but it's a slightly different. But it can keep you separate from a lot of people. So it could be an option. I want everyone to experience Disneyland. I had this idea of starting this like vlog series because I can't stream it because Disney doesn't have great internet there. But a vlog series where I take like different content creators to Disneyland with me because I used to work there.
Oh wow.
So I have like a lot of like fun little like secrets and stuff like that, and I just love seeing people experience the place because I've experienced it so many times that I like feel nothing now. Like I go there and I'm like, this feels like home. This doesn't feel like a great experience. So if I can take like these people that haven't been there in a long time and they're like really excited about stuff, then I kind of want to make like a vlog where I take like just like groups of people like Hassan and Will and Myth, like, and just take the three of them and then like stuff like that. So I mean, we could figure something out like that. We can figure out. We could get a tour guide. We could stay separate. I want you to experience Disneyland. I want everyone to experience Disneyland.
Yeah,
I love it.
I remember wanting to go as a kid and thinking it was like a really cool thing to do. But I never went. Never been there. I mean, I'd never left the country till I was like 28. 28, I think, or 27, because I couldn't afford to until I started
Yeah.
streaming. So yeah, like being able to see something like that would be amazing. I know
Yeah.
what you mean, sort of though, because like I used to collect sea glass for a living. And I
Oh, that's
Yeah, do you know what sea
cool.
glass is?
How is it made? I know what it is, but I don't know how it's made.
So basically, um, it's trash. So someone discards a bit of broken glass. Like around my area, there's a lot of naval bases.
Uh-huh.
So the ancient navy from like 400 years ago in those outposts, the sailors would get drunk and then they'd get rid of all the evidence by throwing the empty bottles into the sea, so they didn't have to answer to anyone.
Perfect. Great. Yeah.
And also there were lots of trading ports, so like people would come and like hundreds of years, dating back hundreds of years ago, like shipwrecks would cause lots of smashed glass.
Yeah.
And when that the waves roll it over the pebbles and slowly grind it into a pebble shape, and then this tiny micro scratches cause it to be frosted glass instead of see-through anymore,
Oh,
so you get a
wow.
tiny frosted pebble. And the different colors are different rarities and ages and have different like values and stories. Like some
Huh.
glass will be you can tell it's 600 years old because it's black and it's you can't see the color unless you shine the light through it. And that's what they used to do before fridges, is they keep things from the sunlight because that erodes the
Oh my
things. So that,
God, that's fascinating.
yeah, and like there's cod bottles which were a specific color that were like a new technology about 100 years ago, and they used like a small ball to keep them sealed and everything. And so you can Americans love it because a lot of the pieces I was finding were like older than their country, and like they'd use it to make jewelry and stuff. So I learned
Oh,
how to trade
wow.
that because I couldn't get a job. So yeah,
Oh my
but
God, that's so cool. Do you
mhm.
have some still?
Yeah, I
Like,
got loads. I've got boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes. Some of it
really?
I Yeah, some of it's like really high quality, like, and some of it's just like stuff I didn't get around to selling before streaming got out of hand.
Yeah. That is so cool. That's a really cool hobby.
Mm. I
I would love to see some.
Yeah, well, I have some I can show you now. I
Yeah.
mean, right. So, what should I show you first? Bitch, I'll kill you. Um, these are some rabbits. I don't think I've shown the stream because I forget that I have these here. I have some on display behind me, but I think, yeah, these look like some random rabbits.
Also, I love
So
your background. I think it's very, very fun.
bitch, thank you. I
You're
fuck.
welcome.
That's pretty much all of my dick, all of my possessions. I don't really decorate anywhere else in the house.
Yeah, I think it's really fun. I'm the opposite. I don't have anything. I just like it's funny. As an interior designer, I don't care to decorate my own shit. Like as weird as that is. It's like
Interesting.
like chefs when they get home from work, they don't feel like cooking. So I think
Yeah,
it's
I
kind
can
of
see that.
similar. It's similar to that. I just give up. And it's harder. It's actually harder to um it's harder to like choose for yourself because I'm used to like spending other people's money, and so you don't feel
Yeah.
attached to it. You're like, okay, so you have like $20,000. Here we go. We're gonna get this, this, and this, and this, and it looks beautiful. And there you go. I don't have to live with it. But then when you have to live with it, it's like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. And so, but I really like your background. I think it's pretty.
Wow. What will £20,000 get you from an interior designer?
Um, Depends on the room.
Mm-hmm.
Not much in a kitchen. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it depends on like all that you want. Like for a living room, if you want like a designer couch or like a leather couch or like something ridiculous like that, like cloud couches. I don't know if you've heard about them. They're from Anthropology and they're like $10,000 a couch. So
Wow.
that's just like that would just be a couch. And TVs, you could get like a $3,000 TV and then like a $2,000 rug, and so it adds up pretty significantly. Even like a coffee table can be $1,000, so it can add up quick. Or people can have $5,000 to spend, and then you just shop more like Wayfair and Overstock and stuff like that. So there's
Yeah.
ways to decorate with any budget. It's just depends on the quality of things you want, kind of.
That's good to know because I'm discovering that I'm useless at that. I've been in and out of homelessness. I don't know how to make a house look good. I've not always had a house. I lived in a tree for like a year.
Oh
So
my
like
god.
I have no clue. This is the closest to interior decorating I've ever gotten.
Well, it looks great. So, I mean, you're doing
Thank you.
great. Yeah, I love it. I think it looks awesome. It looks very homey. It looks very like boho. We love that. We love boho. I like boho, at least.
Yeah. like all different colors and stuff.
Yeah, I
I
love mixed colors. I love mixed woods, and you have lots of mixed woods and tans and neutrals.
Mm. I have lots of skulls. A lot of these are either animals I knew or they're
What?
skulls I found out in the world. Yeah, I'll show you the sea glass first.
Okay, this
So
is
like
crazy. Okay.
so like that would be like a good piece for jewelry. It's a baby cornflower blue, which is quite rare. It's high on the rarity tier, and it's a nice shape. It's a nice teardrop shape, which is quite good because like people refer to sea glass as like mermaids tears. I don't know if it wants to. If I hide my face, maybe it'll. Yeah, there we go.
Oh my god. That's
And
beautiful.
yeah, so that's kind of like very marketable, saleable glass. But the stuff that gets rare and has a cool story is different. Like the stuff that I've kept and never sold is usually not the stuff that would make good jewelry. Although I have made jewelry and I can show that to you. So this piece, you're not really going to understand what's cool about this at first. But you can see there's some stripes in it and it's a couple
Uh-huh.
of different colors at the same time. This is called a multi. Multicolored glass is really rare. In this specific circumstance, it has bubbles in it, so I know exactly how this happened. So a piece of black pirate glass that was probably about 500 or 600 years old, a piece of beer glass, and a cod stopper that's about 100 years old were all in the same vicinity when someone lit a bonfire on the shore, and that bonfire fused the glass. And then that went back out into sea and got reshaped as a pebble after it turned into like a lumpy piece of mess. And so it got polished again and made into a pebble again. And now these three different stories are fused together. And that's a really rare thing to happen. And all three different kinds of glass that this is made of are also rare. So, like, this is a really standout piece, and no one would know it. They just think, oh, it has a black stripe in it.
Oh my god. That is fascinating.
Yeah. And this is depression glass. It's grey. No one likes the grey glass, but I love it because I know how old it is.
What why don't they like it? I think it's pretty.
Yeah, I like grey glass. I think grey glass is beautiful too. This is prison glass. It's part of a window that has been fused with wire in order to make it difficult to smash so that people don't smash it and break out of the prison. But it's made this really cool piece of glass with the stripe through it.
Oh my god, this is so cool.
Mm-hmm. And this one, it was part of a stained glass window that also had surface detail on it. So if I hide my face, you can see that it has like a flower engraved
Oh
in it.
my god, that's so cool.
Uh, this one, let's see.
I
We
like want to
have,
go find sea glass now.
yeah, this was a cup handle. It's also depression glass, so it'll be probably around about 60, 70, no, 80, 90 years old, probably at least.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah, you get the cool pieces that are just really weird shades and stuff. Red is the rarest color, reds and pinks, because not many things were made of glass back. So the only usual source of red glass is cars. In the 60s, they used to have breakfast, and they used to have cars with glass headlights, but they became plastic relatively quickly. So the very few
Oh, so
bits that
they're
made it
red. I see.
very, very rare for it to make its way into the sea.
Mm-hmm.
So red glass is incredibly rare and can fetch between 50 and 300 pounds, um, depending on what shape it is and things like that. Also, this is a multicolored piece that is orange, and orange is really rare as well, but it's also yellow. So it's tiny, but I could probably make a lot of money from it. I used to make breakfast. I used to make jewelry. I want to see some jewelry.
Oh my god, this is so cool. I love pirates, so I loved hearing the pirate one. That's really cool. Oh my god, that's beautiful.
Thank you. It's real silver, but it's a slightly tarnished because it's been in the box for ages, so I'd have to untarnish it, which is relatively easy. But I do that with lots of different colors. This white one didn't sell within the last week of me doing jewelry, so but drilling it's really risky and it can explode when you drill it. So you have to drill it underwater, which is also risky because you're using an
Oh
electric
my
drill.
god.
So like one of the things I had an edge because I can drill really tiny pieces which people find challenging. You need a diamond drill bit and patience and goggles.
What a
So
fascinating hobby. Holy shit.
tricky.
That is so cool. Is sea glass at any beach?
Not any beach. Some beaches are really shit for it.
Uh-huh, but some are better.
Yeah. So like I was using it as a hobby because I wasn't really getting out of the house much. But this purple's really rare as well. And I found a really big bit of purple, which is cool. But they They show up depending on the history of the area. I've got Victorian beads as well. Like this is a Victorian glass bead. So like you find them every now and again. They're beautiful. My town is a holiday town, and it's been a holiday town for quite a while. But the town itself has existed for over 1,000 years, which gives you a lot of time to dump a lot of glass in the sea. Newer towns won't be young enough for glass to have formed into sea glass yet if it was dumped there. There's a place called Lyme Regis, and it had a massive dump that when the erosion got to the dump, when the sea eroded enough land away, it got to the dump and the dump fell into the ocean. And so you find a lot of poison bottle glass there for some reason, which is dark blue. Dark blue is a rare color, but you find it way more often at that beach. Seaham's famous because there used to be a glass factory near it 300 years ago, and they dumped all the slag glass into there. So there are loads of multicolored bits which are really rare, and you can't find them most places in the world.
Just say poison bottle glass? Poison bottle. That was actual poison?
Yeah, like people make
What?
there were little blue bottles of poison. Blue was often used for poison.
Why did they have poison?
Oh, lots of reasons. Oh, ever since like the Roman times, there's been a need for poison. So, for example, in places where arranged marriages happened quite often, women who were being repeatedly abused, beaten, or raped by their partners would go to a specific woman who would give them poison, which was sold in a bottle that is disguised as medicine, so that they could look after their sick husbands until they mysteriously passed away and finally be free from their life of servitude to a very mean man. So there was like lots of things like that. Also, mercury was known to be a poison, but was also used as treatment for multiple illnesses. So I can't remember whether it was like chlamydia. No, syphilis. Syphilis was treated with mercury, and there was an epidemic of syphilis. And what they did was they used the mercury to attack the virus, but it would also attack your mind. So it was potluck whether or not you go mad before you were cured.
Oh God, that's fascinating. You know so many little quips. I know nothing. That's so cool. I'm gonna look up a blue poison bottle. It sounds pretty.
They are pretty.
Has anyone ever found like a full intact one?
Yeah, I have one behind me. Actually, it's really rare, but I have like a 200-year-old bottle over here that was lost at sea and then found again, and the entire thing's been turned into sea glass. So if I compare it to a bottle that's of a similar age. So this is what the glass would normally look like of an old antique bottle, around 100 to 200 years. And then this is what it looks like when it's been lost at sea. It gets frosted all over. And so you can hear this, you hear that sound. Inside here, there is a ball. You can see it rolling around. That's a cod stop. So it seals off the bottle. And that's called a cod stopper. It was a design that was used about 100, 150 years ago, but isn't anymore. This one's actually from Exeter, a town nearish to me. It's like the major town in my county. And so I know exactly where this came from and how long it's been in the water. And the entire thing turned into sea glass. Yeah. And I have loads of them. I have like loads of cod stopper bottles. Bottle stoppers, the ball inside, sea glass versions of them.
These poison bottles are gorgeous. They're like, where's my camera?
Yeah, I love them.
Stop! There it is. Yeah,
yep.
So cool.
Yeah, it had lots of applications throughout the past, and a lot of people would buy them and have them. And yeah, they produce a specific kind of glass. I actually have some poison bottle glass right in front of me as it happens, as a piece of sea glass. It's highly sought after and very romanticized. So like, there you go. There's a piece.
I want a poison bottle necklace. That's so cool. I'm obsessed with this. This is so interesting. Not an actual poison bottle. My chat thinks I'm gonna poison Ludwig. I'm not. Stop. It's just pretty. It's cool. It's very loose. It's like I don't know. I think it's cool when women poison their husbands. I'm joking.
It's okay. I won't tell anyone. Nobody clip that. We don't want to cancel her.
My chat. It is cool. Yes.
Okay, you got the good kind of chat. Okay.
No, I do. I have a good kind of chat. They know when I'm joking.
Mine
LSF
don't
not so
even
much,
know.
but my chat does.
Oh my god, they loved me for like 6 months, and then they're like, "I'm sick of this bitch. I hate her. Get her off the front page. I can't wait until she's exposed." Like, what was his name? There was a guy who stood up from his wheelchair. Do you
Oh
know
my
about that?
god, what? No.
Okay, so there was a guy who got famous because he had a disability. He was a veteran. He was using a wheelchair, and then one day he didn't realize that he hadn't switched off his camera, and he went and got up off his wheelchair to go and talk to his wife, and it went viral, and he got heavily cancelled. Um, and from that point on, every single person with a disability on Twitch, their lives has been hell because people are like, you're going to be the next him and we're going to expose you, and lots of people with disabilities get stalked because
Oh
people want to
my
catch them out.
god. I didn't. Oh my god. So that even adds to the whole stalker issue is that people want to. Oh my god. What the fuck? The world is crazy. I had no clue. Yeah, everyone in chat knows about this. It was years ago, like 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Emily faked cancer one time. What? That's crazy. Yeah, it's kind of like the thing, like yesterday, even like fucking, I don't even want to say his name. Somebody said that like Chubby was faking not knowing English or whatever. And I was like, go fuck yourself. Like, just go fuck yourself. Like, the fact that people are that cynical to even think that stuff. But I guess, I mean, fuck that guy for faking it. Jesus.
Well, I don't know. I don't actually know if he faked it. I mean, he fell off the earth, and I wouldn't be surprised if he still had a disability. It's just that not everyone needs a wheelchair all of the time.
True.
Like, some people, it's just hard to stand for like a few minutes. So technically, they can stand and they can like get up to reach to the top of the shelf at a supermarket or whatever, but they need the wheelchair to get around. So I'm not even necessarily convinced that he was faking his whole thing just because he stood up.
That's
It
a
could
good
well
point.
be that, yeah, because a lot of people who have disabilities, they see people get enraged at them for like putting down their like crotches for a few minutes or something, because they just don't understand that some people don't need it constantly, but they can't get around without them.
Huh.
So I don't
That's
even
so
know for sure.
interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know about any of this. Chat knows all about it. They're telling me all about it. Huh.
That's like Twitch lore.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of Twitch lore. I felt like I didn't watch a lot of Twitch before I started streaming. Did you?
No.
Yeah, I didn't watch a lot of it, so I didn't even know who was who.
Oh, I would
That's
have
so
thought you'd have known a lot of it through Ludwig.
No, so I when I first started streaming, Ludwig was a smaller streamer than me. So like when I met Ludwig, I had like 1,000 viewers and he had like 300.
Wow.
So when I met him, we were like in totally different worlds. He was very much so in like the Smash community, and I was like, this was after I had been to like Ms. Kiff's house. A few, I think once, maybe, no, one time. This was after I'd been to Ms. Kiff's house one time. But I was like more in that community. Like I knew all of those streamers. And so when I met him, I'm the one who introduced him to like Ms. Kiff and all of those people. So I didn't,
Wow.
he was very outside of, he was in his own world, but yeah. But he exploded, which is very much so deserved. I remember like back when I found him, I remember rating him one night and like saying to my chat, I was like, guys, like everyone go follow this guy. Like he's insanely talented. He should have triple my viewers and da da da. I don't know about like 10 times my viewers, but but you know, triple makes sense. But no, he totally deserves it. He's very, very talented. He puts a lot of thought into things, and he's really good at like he's really good at like showing up and always having energy, which is something like I just can't do. I've learned that about myself. Sometimes I just want to go live and chill. Like I don't want to be like, hey guys, like we're doing this and blah, blah, blah. I can't do that. I really can't. And so it's very admirable because most of the most successful streamers, they can do that, and it's very cool.
Yeah, Yeah, some people are just showmen.
Yeah, I wish I could be like that. I think about it all the time,
Mm.
but I don't want to do coke, and I think that's the only way I could personally pull it off is if I did drugs. I don't know. I'm not a social butterfly like him.
Mm.
It's very
I am.
impressive.
I always fuck myself over because I encourage everyone to go out and enjoy themselves, and I talk to people about how to overcome social anxiety, how to make small talk, how to get out there into the world. I'm like, don't waste your life staring at me. Actually, make friends. Don't use me as a band-aid for being lonely. And they fucking listen to me and they disappear all summer. So like, I have half my viewers in the summer consistently every fucking summer. Everyone buggers off, and I'm like, oh, any minute now, there's gonna be like 10 people who show up, and I can go back to rescue work, and this was a cool stint and it's over now. And then like a month later, everyone's back, and I'm like, oh, never mind. I guess I'm back here for another year.
I say to my chat, I say, you guys can make friends with each other. Feel free to make friends with each other, but you show up and you watch me together. And you invite a friend that doesn't watch me. That's what you do. And all three of you watch me. And then they invite. We're actually running a multi-level marketing scheme on my channel. It's really cool. So the more viewers you bring in, the more noticed you get from me. I say thank you, Dren for. Dren is one of my main mods, and at this point, he just links any Tinder date he has. He just links her, link to my channel. It's been really good for business. My mods trying to date has been really great, but we'll see. We'll see how we continue. But yeah, it's weird to have that fear that like one day you'll show up and you'll have 10. I don't even know if it's a fear. I don't know what it is, but it's just like I used to be really bad, and this is why I actually got rid of, I don't think my stream knows this, but I used to have like a starting soon screen that I would use, and I'd run it for 5 minutes. And the reason I did that was because I was sure one day I'd run that and no one would show up. And I didn't want to be like, I didn't want my face on camera while that happened, Like,
Oh,
I didn't want
yeah.
to, like, I would prefer to, like, see that there's only 10 people and then just end and, like, no one can see me go, like, oh my God, here we go. And, but, like, the issue, it became so much of a crutch that, like, if I didn't see that number growing, I literally couldn't get my cam on. Like, I'd get very anxious about it. So finally I was like, okay, fuck the starting soon screen. I'm just gonna start doing my face. Like, I can't rely on that too much. But, it is crazy how, like, your success solely relies on people watching you. And it's weird when you are a person that's like, I wouldn't fucking watch me. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, I'm not cool. I don't know why you guys are watching me. I think it's nice because I feel like for me, I think I'm relatable. I think I am very much so, like, lots of people tell me they get like sister vibes from me, and I take that as a compliment because I've always been like, growing up, I've always been one of the boys. I've always been like that, like, I wasn't good at making friends, but I was good at like playing Halo with everyone. You know what I'm saying? And then that's the way you make friends, is by playing a video game. And so I think that's my only like main source of social interaction, which is the same for all of these guys in chat. But let's be honest.
Lesbians.
I figured it out a little better than them because none of them have a boyfriend and girlfriend. So, and they're cucks. But at least I have a hot boyfriend, chat. Losers. You don't have anything.
My chat's started dating each other.
What?
Like, we're gonna have little fish fister babies one day. I know it. Because my community is called the Fish Fisters. They named themselves after 2 of my ticks. But they do. They all hang out with each other, and it's like a giant orgy. Sometimes I hop in, and like someone who's gossipy will be like, "Oh my God, did you hear about this guy? They're sleeping with that person, and secretly like, okay, I know they're also sleeping with." I'm just like, well,
I've actually, it's very funny. Every once in a while, there's a voice call in my Discord. And every once in a while, there's usually people in it, and I'll hop in and I'll be like, what's the 411? And I have heard some tea, and I'm just like, oh my God, what? Like, they'll be like, they do that where they're like, oh, so-and-so was like flirting with so-and-so, and they're like all these people from my Discord, but then they like ditched them for and it's just like, Jesus, what is going on in here? Like, it's so silly. Or so-and-so has a crush on so-and-so, or and I'm like, oh my God. Or so-and-so went on a date the other day, and I'm like, what? Yeah. It's very strange, but it's cool. It's cool to watch as, like, chat. Everyone in chat, at someone in chat you want to date. This will be fun. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Everyone in chat, do that. Do that for each other.
Oh,
Make some babies. Make some seahorse friends.
there. Some of them are choosing themselves. All right. Yeah. You guys are doing great.
Yeah,
Pokemon's not here, you guys. You can't at Pokemon. She's not. She's not. She's not an option.
yeah, yeah. I see some people acting themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing great.
Mm-hmm.
I also told you I'm not an option. I'm not your friend. You will never date me. So no need to even type that name out. Joe Biden. Ooh, that's a good one.
That's kind of spicy. Do you find that people hit on you regardless of the fact that they know you're in a relationship?
Um, yeah, much less, I'll say. I think that is one thing that I've noticed more about men than women. You can tell me if I'm cynical too. But what I've noticed in my life, my 25 years, is that usually when a man knows you're in a relationship, they very much so like they're pretty good at backing off and just being like, "Oh, if you were single." You know, they at least will say if you were single, like, "I'd love to take you out," like or like Ludwig's lucky. Like they follow up something like that. And so I would say men are usually more respectful knowing you're in a relationship than what I've noticed like women. When women see that a man is in a relationship, for some reason they get like very competitive and they like think like, oh, it doesn't matter because I'm better than her. And they almost see it as like a challenge is what I've noticed. Like I get more DMs from girls saying you're not hot enough for Ludwig than I get from guys. And it's
Wow.
very interesting. Like ladies, we don't need to do that. Like why I think women have been taught for too many years to like hate each other or to throw each other under the bus. And so it's very shitty. It's very shitty that like women always want to be better than the next woman and so they like feel a almost competitiveness when they know that like the man that they like or they have a crush on or whatever is dating another woman because they're like, "Oh, well I'm way hotter than her." So, you know, it's just like it's very bizarre.
I'm sorry you've had to face that. Do you want to hear the psychology of why that's appealing?
Yes, I love this. I love that you know the psychology behind this stuff.
Okay, so I learned this first from people that I knew in first-hand experience before I started researching it later in life. But I used to know a woman who has actual scars on her face because she has a fetish for boyfriends. So she would go to clubs and she would try to, her biggest challenge would be to get drunk, get some other guy drunk who's in a relationship and sneak him off to the toilets. To the point where she'd gotten some very unfortunate names as a result of this behavior. And it all collapsed one day because she was doing it in the goth subculture. And when
In
she'd
the
gotten through,
goth. Oh, I thought you said golf. I was like golf or goth.
no, it's not golfies. It was like goths, and so like when she ran out of guys in the goth scene, she had a meltdown because one guy was like, "No, I know who you are and your reputation, and I wouldn't ruin my relationship with you. Go away." And she threw a tantrum, and he went to another club. She followed him there and went, "Why won't you sleep with me?" And then puked Ribena alcohol all over herself and lied there in the gutter just on the floor like having a meltdown and stuff. She couldn't live it down, so she became what people call here a chav. So she started wearing Burberry and things and started like assuming a new identity and a new subculture and just
Oh,
did the rounds
wow.
there instead after that. Um, so I was like so curious. I was like, why would you do this? Because she could never get a boyfriend because all of the guys saw her as a quick lay and they didn't want to be with her long term, thinking she'd cheat on them or that loads of people
That
had
makes
seen
sense.
her naked and things, and they felt weird and embarrassed about being associated with her. So it changed the way that people viewed her as a person, as well as the fact that they noticed that she was always targeting people who were in relationships, which seems rather mean. But what happens is, and I noticed this with her, and I noticed this with another woman that I met who had a similar problem. So, which was that they would compulsively try to do this. And the thing that they had in common was that two things. One was that they had multiple sisters and they had to compete for their father's attention. And so they became very used to, we adopt a style of love and affection when we're young and we imprint it on adulthood. It doesn't have to make us happy for us to fall into it over and over again if it's all we know. So we tend to, the blueprint for our connections is formed when we're children. Our first loves are usually with our parents and our family, and then we move that blueprint onto our loving connections in later life. And so they were competing with their sisters for their father's love a lot, very aggressively, and they'd have to be more than their sisters in order to have the attention and nurturance. If he walked into the room, you'd have to be doing the thing that got his attention to receive any love or nurturance, and you'd have to outcompete
Oh
several
my
other people in the
God.
room to have that as a sister. And so all of the sisters in her family thought that someone else was his favorite because they were so jealous of each other's connections with him. They couldn't see how much he valued them. So none of them thought they were the favorite, and all of them resented another girl in the family for being the favorite. And so that was one of the problems, but they were also competing with each other for men. So not only that, but like she'd ask a guy on a date, and one of her sisters was much more attractive than her in her eyes. And she would get a lot of attention, and all the guys always fought over this one sister. And it wasn't her. And one time she asked a guy out, and he was like, I would date you if you looked more like your sister, sort of thing.
Oh my
And
God.
and so she always had this complex that if she could attract attention, it was always in competition with her sister. It was where she had to prove that she was more attractive than her sister to get any attention. And that was like a complex she developed. So then that blueprint stayed with her. And whenever she saw a hot girl getting all the attention in a club, the only sense of validation and nurturance she knew how to seek in this situation, which made her feel insecure, was to get the boyfriend to notice her more. And that's the only form of reward or connection she knew and knew how to seek and felt comfortable attaining. And that was the only scenario she knew. So basically, that whole situation growing up messed her up. And I'm not saying that she's a messed up person and that she's forever broken. I'm just saying that it hurt her ability to connect with people in a healthy way. And no matter what, she kept falling back into it, even when she knew it was hurting her, because she just didn't know how to process any other kind of attention or love.
Wow. Yeah. That's very interesting. So you're saying these women, I mean, everything spawns from insecurity, right? I feel like that's where all hate comes from 90% of the time. It's just insecurity. So when these women like DM me, it's just because it makes them feel better to think that they're better, or it's the only way they can feel good about themselves. Guys, stop doing that. It's mean. It's the only thing. It's the only thing they've learned. Essentially the DMs that saying like, oh, you're not hot enough, or you're not smart enough, or whatever.
Yeah. And I bet you anything there are some women in your chat who are watching you because they want to become everything Ledwig would want. Because there are attachment styles like that as well. You're probably getting stalked by at least a few girls who fancy Ledwig. Who might try and do their hair like you and talk like you and stuff.
I'm going to tell you something. You can take a shift. You can have him for a week if you want. Just do the laundry while you're here. I'll take some time off. Yeah, just let me know. Let me know if you want to sub in. You know, we can take turns. We'll be fine. I'm a sharer. No, I'm not. I'm not a sharer. I could never. Either. I could never. I don't know how. Like, we did a Housewives podcast, and we had Melina come on, who is Destiny's girlfriend, and they were just talking about open relationships, and I was like, God, I could never. I don't think I'm not level-headed enough. I could never just like be like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like, I don't know. It's hard. That's hard. It's a hard thing to like wrap your head around.
Are you like completely straight?
That's a great question. I don't know. I talk about this. Answer. The thing is, it's so funny because I didn't think. Okay, how do I explain this? I don't think it matters. Like, I don't think gender matters to what you're attracted to. And I didn't think that meant that I was not straight. But then I've said that out loud, and people have been like, oh, well, then you're clearly bi, or you're clearly pan, or you're clearly whatever. And I'm like, no, I just feel like you could date anyone, you could have sex with anyone, it doesn't matter. And then like my one friend, we were talking about this in the kitchen, and my one friend was like, well, she was a woman. She's like, I'd never have sex with a woman. And I was like, oh. And she's like, would you? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, QTCinderella. And I was like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? I don't think it matters. Like, I don't know. But apparently that means that maybe I'm not straight, but I just don't. I feel like I am straight. I don't know.
That's up to you to decide if like
Yeah, I
you
don't
don't
know.
ever see yourself in a
I don't think I
relationship with a
could
woman or
ever.
anything.
I don't think I could ever fall in love with a woman. But also, I
You know,
do. I think it doesn't matter. So I
that's
have no clue.
there are people who are like bi, they're like straight leaning bis. So like there are bi people that can have sex with the same sex but could only really love the opposite sex and vice versa. And there are people who have like only ever had male relationships with men um but they know they feel attraction to the same sex.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of there's loads of different ways to be bi or pan or whatever.
Yeah, I have no clue. So I just say I'm straight. Cause I mean, even for now, it doesn't matter for me. Cause it's like, I'm dating a man and I don't know when I would be dating again. So it's like, whatever. I don't know.
That's so healthy the way you say that, because like some people who are in relationships are like, no, it's going to last forever, and to talk as if it's not going to last forever is a betrayal and bad. But like the way I see relationships is like, I'm happy with this person for as long as we make each other happy. If we're not happy, I'm happy to work on it, but if that
Yeah.
doesn't work out, then I feel lucky I got this amount of time with them, and I don't have like any expectations. If I enter a relationship, I don't expect it to last a specific amount of time,
No.
forever, 6 months, nothing. I just am like, it's nice to have you here for as long as you want to be here. And I feel like I don't think I could ever get married because of it, because I feel like marriages end too, and it doesn't prevent cheating or any of the bad stuff,
No.
but it does create a lot of pressure to stay after you're not happy anymore, because you don't just have the relationship to lose. You have so much more, like half the house and all this sort of stuff. And so I've seen a lot of unhappy marriages where people just think it's too much effort to leave. And I feel like that's more of a threat to, like, I feel like I'm scared I'll be more likely to be cheated on or to end up in a miserable relationship if I get married than if I have give people the freedom to come and go. It's like cats versus dogs. A cat stays with you because you did well and they like you. A dog stays with you because they can't get away. And so I'm more of a cat person, and therefore not really much of a marriage person.
Yeah, I think the older I get, the more like, cause I remember I was years ago, I just wanted like I was like, oh, I want the marriage, I want the white picket fence, like I love you, like let's get married tomorrow, blah blah blah. And then as I've gotten older,
Sexually attracted to
um,
women and men but only romantically interested.
sorry,
Dating in
one
men could be
second.
described as bisexual heteroromantic.
Um, I I don't know where I was going. Sorry, I got a TTS that threw me off.
Yeah, it's
Um,
fine. If you want to do some TTS, like what I do, do you just let them run as soon as they're paid?
yeah. Do you pause them?
They're all back up, and then we do rounds of it because then my mods can approve it. The Stream Elements invented Anita mode when I came onto the scene because people were using TTS to trigger my Tourette's. So we have to have the mods approve it before they're played. So we just do them as segments, and that way it's more organized and you don't
Oh,
get interrupted.
that's very smart. Huh.
Yeah.
That's yeah, you're living 100 years ahead of us. That's crazy. I never thought of even just pausing and then having a break to read them all. Well, okay. Well, write that down, chat. But yeah, essentially, like as you get older, the more you're like, okay, well, I'm just gonna be happy for as long as I can in this because I think it's just very much so like, you never know how people change. You never know how people's priorities change. You don't like, and so I'm just happy to keep doing what I'm doing for now. We'll just see what happens. But I also think it can get very poisonous. And there's a lot of people that I know in relationships that do start like, like questioning their sexuality. And that's good to, want to find yourself. But when you're in a relationship and you start longing to figure that out, it can be very scary. It can be very toxic to a relationship. And it's like seeing like that can be people in like very committed relationships. And so I think it's important to always take time to find yourself and figure that out. Before you get in relationships, everybody, if you find yourself like I am, like I'm very much so like I don't know, I don't care, but I know a lot of people, they're like, what if I am, I need to go out there and try it, but they're already in a committed relationship. It's like, shoot, that's gonna cause some issues, and so always slow down. If you don't know yourself yet, don't get in a relationship.
Yeah, I feel like it's important to know yourself and be certain about certain things. Because if you don't know you, you can't show who
I
you
love you,
are. And if you can't really
QTCinderella.
show who you are, then how can anyone love you? Because they
Yay,
don't know what
8
they're loving. They
months.
don't know you.
Thanks for
You don't
all the
even know them.
interesting
So,
content
like,
and
in order to
convos,
feel
QTC
genuine
love.
love, that when you feel like someone really knows you, you kind of actually have to know who you are and who you're offering to someone. So I think that's just important in general, regardless of whether you got your sexuality figured out.
Yeah.
But as well, like I as someone who can have relationships with women, I feel like a lot of what dating women and men is both of them is a minefield, because
Yeah.
there are people that aren't actually gay who are curious as to whether or not they're gay and would like to use you as a sex toy for the evening to figure themselves out.
Uh,
And a lot of them don't realize how selfish that is or misleading.
yeah.
And so it's really scary to date women, because you don't know how many of them are actually willing to date you and how many of them are just experimenting, and it's not fun to,
Be
you
the
know,
experiment. Yeah.
and then for someone to be like,
Oh,
"Oh,
wow.
now that I've kissed you, I know I don't like women." That's a horrible thing to hear. Like, so like you're scared of experiencing that. You know, lots of women in the gay community who have experienced that and are very cynical and will only date lesbians because they're scared of bisexuals and bi-curious people and stuff,
Aw.
because it's just a surefire way to get used.
I've never thought of that. That's so interesting. Wow. Yeah, make
And then
sure you're very clear about things, chat.
communication is good, but then you don't want to be someone's unicorn either. And that's like, there are loads of people who pretend, like, there are women who are used as fishing hooks on the internet, who pretend to be a lesbian looking for a woman, and then they spring that they have a boyfriend on you down the line, and basically they're just fishing for a bisexual to spice up their marriage because they want to include someone
Oh.
else in the bedroom. Yep, and that happens a lot, and they're called unicorns.
Oh
The
my
women
god.
So unicorns are like these rare bisexuals who are willing to be someone's spicy sex toy for a dying marriage, is the way I see it anyway. Because it's so rare that anyone would want to be disrespected like that. A lot of people are just looking for a relationship, but a lot of men hear bisexual and they hear threesome. Like, they immediately think that if you're a bisexual woman, you are going to sleep with them and their girlfriend immediately. The amount of threesomes I've been invited to, it's ridiculous. I can't stand
Oh
it.
my god. Anyway, you want to come to our threesome later? That is actually really interesting. I've never heard that perspective before. That's crazy. That's very, very cool. Like, to get the perspective. That's not a cool thing that people do. I think it's important to put it out there. Wow. I've never thought about that.
Weird fact, I'm meeting so many bisexual people with Tourette's, men and women. Like, most of the men I know with Tourette's, most are also bisexual. It's a really common thing that goes hand in hand, and I don't know why. We do have different brain regions that are underactive as well as overactive. So that says to me that maybe some element of sexuality is not just hormonal, but also intrinsic to your neurodevelopment.
I've heard that
I
before,
love you,
actually.
QTCinderella.
That I had as weird as it is, my stepbrother, when he was I think 6 months old, he had a brain injury, and he had a babysitter that like threw him against a wall. It was awful.
Oh.
Yeah, it was an awful thing. So he has this brain injury, and the doctor did like a CAT scan of his brain and said to my stepdad, he said, "Oh, there's this like pattern in his brain, or there's something in his brain that shows he's more likely to be bisexual." And my stepdad was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And then years later, my stepbrother is gay. But it's just very interesting that like a doctor even said that, because I don't understand that at all.
I've never heard of that, and I love researching sexual things, and I do sexual talks about all sorts of things. I've helped chat understand so much more about the clitoris. You have no idea.
Oh, that's
so,
very
like,
cool.
Yeah, I'm writing that down.
Yeah, look it up. I should have looked it up. Someone in chat said it could have been linked to T levels. It was a CAT scan of some talk or some way, but it was very, very, very interesting. Because I had never heard of it until, like, I remember growing up, when my brother finally came out, my stepdad was like awful about it, because he's like, "Oh, I knew this was gonna happen. That doctor, like, I wanted to punch that doctor in the face." And I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, my family is very close-minded for many, many years. They still are a lot of the time. I'm very different than the rest of them. But yeah, it was awful. I grew up Mormon. Do you know what Mormon is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up Mormon, which there's no such thing as like same-sex marriage or anything like that. It's an awful cult, and so it was crazy though. It was very interesting.
Wow. I was raised without any religion. I wasn't really raised with a lot of guidance either. I was kind of just left to my own devices. So I in my early years, we lived in a tree. We lived in a meadow for a while, and then my mom moved away. I lived with my dad in a house for like a few years, tiny handful of years. Then I went to live with her again, thankfully. And when I did, she was really, really ill, and I ended up being her carer. So I was like cooking for myself. I spent most of my time alone, learning by myself. I was in charge of my own education, and I just had to develop in isolation. So I wasn't taught anything about religions really. Some background culture of the UK before the Roman invasion. So I learned about the pre-Christian religions, like the original UK culture. And all the tribes and stuff. But apart from that, nothing. I didn't know anything about any of the main religions, anything like that. And I had to develop my own understanding of the world and how it all formed and things. And I mostly ended up with a very scientific, semi-agnostic kind of viewpoint on the world and how everything is. And
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for that because it gave me a chance to define myself rather than be goaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely brainwashed. I was very brainwashed for many years, and so it's been interesting to get out, like once you get out from under your family's ideas to like see the world for itself, you're like, oh wow, like I don't know, it's just very, very eye-opening.
Wow. Yeah, like when did you start like being introduced to the outside of your like Mormon upbringing?
Probably just high school, because my sister stayed friends with like all Mormons in high school, but I started talking to like non-Mormons and they became more of my friends. But it was really hard because they would like go to parties where there'd be drinking and I just wouldn't get invited because they didn't want the Mormon girl there judging them, right? And so I'd always be like really, really left out in that aspect. And I remember I wore a skirt to school and it was short, and my sister was like so rude about it all day 'cause she was 2 years older than me. And so she was like, you look like a slut. You look like, I can't believe you're wearing that. Like, like, mom, I'm going to tell mom, like just stuff like that. But I was very much so like, I stopped going to church regularly. I had something called seminary. Seminary is a Mormon class that is taught during high school. It doesn't count as a credit. It counts as like a free period. And so you would have to make up for these credits later. But I would go to that every other day. But yeah, it was very difficult. I didn't start drinking or anything like that until I was 21. I lost my virginity at 21, which Mormonism, you're not supposed to have sex before marriage. So this was like a big no-no. And so I lost my virginity at 21, and then I went to a party where I was just angry because this guy ghosted me after I lost my virginity. Went to this party where I was just angry, and like all my friends were there, and it was like the first party they've ever like really invited me to with alcohol, and I grabbed someone's beer and I just started chugging it, and it was awful. And then I went into the bathroom and I smoked weed, and so I just got it all. I ran through all of it. But yeah, so that's kind of when I officially left the church. Not very many years ago, because if you get baptized in the church, technically your records are still with the church until you send them a letter saying, please, like, I'm no longer interested in the church. Please take my name off of your records. I didn't take it off of the records just because it's like so much extra work and stuff like that. But then they came out with this policy about gay marriage and how children of gay parents would not be allowed to be baptized at the church. Like they were saying that children would not be allowed to. And I was like, okay, fuck this place. And so I did like a march. There was like a march against the church. And so I went in that, and then I sent my letter in and removed my name. But
wow.
Yeah. Just fucked up. There's just a really fucked place. Like women, like I grew up going to like summer camps, like girls camps where they would essentially like teach you how to become a wife. And that's what everything was focused on. Like I learned how to sew, I learned how to cook, I learned everything, like the basic like housewives from the 50s. I learned all of that through the Mormon church, which is cool things to know now, because a lot of people aren't as like well-rounded in all of those different things. But it was interesting. So I'm happy to live a different life. My family is very, I don't think my dad will never love me as much as he will love my siblings that are a part of the church, and I know that. But I think I'm happier outside of the church. I remember being 8 years old, going to church and judging someone because it was like a new rule that you weren't allowed to wear flip-flops to church. And I grew up in a very, very poor neighborhood, and somebody showed up to church in flip-flops, and I remember as an 8-year-old like judging them. And I think about that, and I'm like, fuck that fucking religion. Like, love thy neighbor, but also judge them for wearing flip-flops and being poor, even though I'm also poor. Like, it's just such a fucked up thing.
Yeah. Well, I think it really speaks volumes about you that when you look back at the things that you regret about being Mormon, you look back at yourself and the things it sowed in you, rather than actively hating the people around you. You wanted to be a better person and be more inclusive, and that it wasn't having the impact and help you grow into the person you wanted to be, and that's the problem. I think that there's something beautiful in that criticism, because for a lot of people that I see in chat who criticize religious people, they're just like, religion is poison, they're all bad, wars and stuff. And it's like, the atom bomb wasn't invented by religion, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we find ways and reasons to kill each other regardless. To me, like, I suffered a lot of religious persecution, but a lot of people with Tourette's do. Religious people think we're possessed, so a lot of people come into my chat who are either Muslim or Christian and want to, say it's a spiritual problem and things like this. And I still don't hate religion. I'm not religious myself. I still don't hate religion. And the way I see it is, it's like many things. It's just a mirror, because there are loads of things in all of these holy books that you can use as an excuse to do good, and many people do. They do charitable work, they support their community, all this sort of stuff, and they're pillars in their community and make it a wonderful place to be. And then there are people who look in that book for all the reasons to lynch gay people and stuff and be racist and everything. It's not that it can mean anything. It's open to interpretation, and that's why it doesn't mean anything to me, because it could mean anything. But when people see meaning in it, and what they see is the meaning to do good or to do bad, it's just a reflection of themselves. So I don't hate religion. I hate the reflection that people see when it's negative in those books, because really they're letting a deity take blame for their failings when they say that God wanted them to be cruel. And yeah, that's my stance. And I have friends who are religious. I love them, and I don't think that religion is what's wrong with the world. I think wrong is what's wrong with the world.
Yeah, like my family is still very religious, and I clearly love them. And if anything, I feel like I have allowed them to become more open-minded. Like I think I've even like had them question some things, like something within the Mormon church is there's a president of the Mormon church. Or a prophet, sorry, it's a prophet, and the prophet can speak to God. Even today, they must have each other's cell phone numbers or something. I'm not sure how it works. But what happens when the prophet dies, it seems to always go to his next apostle. So there's like there's 12 apostles, but he has a first, God, I'm forgetting stuff. He has a first and second like in command to him, and it always seems to go to the first command. And so I was in the car with my sister one time, and I was like, don't you think it's interesting that God chooses this person, but it always seems to go based off of seniority? And she was like, well, like, it's just because they're closest to God anyway, that's how it works. And I don't know. I guess I've never thought about it because God chooses them. And I was like, well, how does God choose them? And they're like, well, through the prophet. And I'm like, well, if the prophet dies, then how is God choosing the new prophet? And she's like, well, like, it's just funny to hear like the excuses, but it really opens the mind to question these things. And I think more and more with Google and with being able to talk outside of your own community, more than ever before in like Earth's history, I see religion just very much so falling, So I don't see how Mormonism can continue to grow when people can Google that Joseph Smith was like actually like on shrooms and just having an acid trip instead of like seeing God in a forest, It's very interesting, but we'll see.
Forgive me and my ignorance. Is Mormonism the one with the golden tablets?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Do they actually exist? That golden tablet?
Uh, I've never seen them. I don't know. They supposedly exist. I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't believe so.
I find artifacts really interesting. Like, I'd love to know like know more about this golden thing. Like, is that a thing that people have somewhere? Do people go on a pilgrimage to see it? Like, because the Muslims, they go to see that big square, don't they? That big, I think it's obsidian square with the meteorite that's hit it that no one's allowed to touch.
Oh
or look at.
yeah. In Mormonism, Joseph Smith like found this weird compass that led him to the tablets that got turned into the Book of Mormon, but then I believe God conveniently like took it away afterwards. Which is cool that he did that, I guess, but there's a lot of loopholes and a lot of things like, you know, the multiple wives, and that has phased out, but it's also like there's still a lot of just misogyny and sexism in the Mormon church, and it's really sad to watch. Like, it's really, really sad. Like, there's this thing called the patriarchy, or no, not the patriarchy, sorry, that's what we all know what the patriarchy is. The priesthood, that's what I was trying to say. There's this thing called the priesthood that only men can have, and when men get the priesthood, they're allowed to then give blessings to anybody. You can give blessings once you have the priesthood, and women can't get the priesthood. It wasn't even until a few hundred years, like not even, I want to say within the last 100 years, they barely allowed people of ethnicity besides white to get the priesthood as well. Like, it's really fucking awful. Like, this religion you're supposed to, like, you know, it was the late 70s. Yeah, the late 70s, they allowed anybody that's not Caucasian to get the priesthood, which is just, like, so fucked up. But yeah, there's lots of like systematic racism, even to the point of talking about like Lamanites and Nephites. They're like two different types of it was like this religious war between the Lamanites and the Nephites, and then God cursed the Nephites with dark skin or something like that.
Yeah.
And so then I remember being in a church lesson with someone that had darker skin, and my teacher in the class was like, "Oh, well, you're a Nephite because your skin." And it's like, what the fuck? I was like 7. Like,
Yeah.
I love you, QTCinderella.
Like, it's just fucked up. The thing is there are a lot of great people in the religion. There really are. There's a lot of great people, but the religion itself is just, it's a little wild, and I feel bad for anyone who falls prey to it because it controls your life. It makes you feel disgusted when you learn. Like, I remember learning that my uncle drank a beer, and I was like, wow, he's going to hell. Like, he's definitely going to hell. Like, he's an awful person because he drank a beer. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, I shouldn't be thinking that at like 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just an awful way of breeding humans, like cultivating their brains to just like judge people. I don't know. Just very sad, but
yeah, I had a very different, a very, very different upbringing. I was raised amongst people. So when I lived in the fields, there were loads of people who were Wiccan and Druids and stuff, and they were like drinking mead, and there was like loads of animal bone mobiles dangling from the trees, and
oh
like,
my
you'd hear
god,
chanting
that's
from different
very
religions.
interesting.
Yeah, so like I learned a lot about ancient history, like the pre-Roman history. So the Romans invaded the UK about 1,500 years ago or something like that. It was quite a long time ago. Up until then, there were loads of different tribes and kings all across the UK, and there were unique religions. And there's Gaelic, which is an old language that's been spoken for thousands upon thousands of years here. The only traces of Gaelic you'll find are Scottish Gaelic, Welsh Gaelic, and Welsh Gaelic, Irish Gaelic, and Cornish Gaelic. So four different languages on this tiny little bit of island. And those have loads of different gods, many of which are dead now. But I think that taught me a lot too, because I as a very young child, I remember thinking there are so many gods that come in and out of fashion throughout the thousands of
Yeah.
years. How could I possibly hope to know which one was the right one?
Yeah.
So like I knowing that gods came and went made me less inclined to follow one, and to really
Mm-hmm.
look for ethics within myself. Um, and a lot of the people who live by those cultures, that those remnants of those cultures, partially reinvent them as well to fit their kind of modern standards, and also tend to worship them figuratively rather than literally. So they become ways to visualize what you want from the world and how you want to be and who you want to be, rather than actually believing in the deities being real. Um, and so a lot of them would explain that very openly and said, actually, a lot of people from ancient UK history used to feel that way too, even thousands of years ago. They knew that they weren't real, but they used them as ways to visualize a better world and to create things. And they use it as like like a neurological tool, like a psychological tool. There we go. And that's something that they were open about. So like I learned about religion and faith being used as a practice rather than as a way to understand the world, more a way to understand yourself. And I think that helped me to be more understanding of religion, but also not
Yeah.
really see it as something I wanted to do. So yeah, ended up very independent minded. And yeah, I think from there most of my ethics I just decided when I was 9. I came to a lot of realizations. I decided what the meaning of life was when I was 9. I decided who I wanted to be when I was 9, and I decided what ethics was when I was 9.
What a
And these are
good year.
yeah. So for me, it was bit, bit, bitch. It was bitch. It was my 3 questions are: does this action cause harm? Yes or no? Okay, then you know what to do. Just don't cause harm. Oh, there's some situations where no matter what you do, it will cause harm. Great, cause the least harm. Morality solved. That's just it. I'm always proud of my actions. It was very simple, very easy to follow, and I like who I am as a result. It's so simple. There's no commandments. There's no allowances. No excuses. That's just how it is to me. I define myself by who I am when I'm around those who are vulnerable. If there are no consequences for hurting someone and you do, that's who you are. If there are no consequences for hurting someone and you're kind, that's who you are. So I usually gauge that in people by how they treat animals and insects. Anyone that you can
Yeah.
harm, because there's no consequences for hurting an insect. You don't go to prison for hurting an insect. So if you can do what you like to them regardless, then that's a clue to me. That's what I look for in other people. I look for people who are kind even when they don't have to be. Um, and so those were like my understanding of ethics and what good people are and who I wanted to be. And then the meaning of life, to me, was to learn, because everyone has their own meaning of life. But the thing that applies to all of us is you don't really have control. You're just reacting. You're part of the chaos. Like chemicals react. That's a physiological thing. That's an inevitability. You just react when you don't understand a situation. But the more you learn, the more you can decide what happens. You can see 2 paths and make choices if you learn about your environment. Whereas if you just react to what happens to you and don't think about it, you are at the mercy of the universe. You add
Yeah.
all meaning to every action when you learn. So no matter what your personal meaning is, the most universal and reductive meaning is to learn. And the more you learn, the more of your actions have meaning throughout the universe, and the more of the universe you can impact with meaning, with intent. So all agency and all meaning comes from learning. And then you find your personal meaning, which is just unique to you. And I don't decide that for others. I just decide that for myself. And that's all of my doctrine. That's as
The
close to
Church of
faith as I
Anita. Church of Anita, we're here for it.
have.
So that's good, actually. I think that's a problem that I had actually for a really long time. Is it's never just like I was just very reactive, and I think I've only learned in the recent years like holy shit, you're supposed to like slow down and think of these things before they come out of your mouth, or like. And I still have slip ups where I just speak without thinking of the harm it can cause, and it's good that you decided that at a young age, because that's a hard thing to have. Like
I had a lot of time to think. I was very
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah. That's not a bad, that's a great thing.
But that's why I think like it's as important to the caterpillar as it is to the child to teach the child to be good to the caterpillar, because the child learns how to care about those for no other reason than to care. Like altruism comes when you have no reward for goodness, and there is no reward for being kind to bugs. So I think that's why I like teaching people to consider those who you don't have to. because then you actually know what it's like to be kind. I'm really worried for people who come into my chat who think that nobody is ever genuinely kind, that it's all selfish. They think that even like they think that even altruism is just like kin selection, like a genetic imperative where you benefit yourself by benefiting others, and that it's not really selfless. And I worry for these people because they obviously haven't ever actually experienced a selfless act. They've obviously never been selfless, because for those of us who
Yeah.
believe in altruism, we know what it's like because we felt it. And so that's why I encourage them to be nice to bugs, because there's literally no reason other than it benefits the bug.
I'm going to tell you what, I smush a lot of bugs.
Maybe it might be a good time to try being nice to them.
Okay. I'll worry. Bugs scare me a lot. They scare me so much I don't even squish them. I say, Ludwig, will you squish them? But maybe
Yeah.
I will have him take them outside from now on.
I think it's good because, like, bugs are really important. They're the reason we get to breathe. They're the reason we get to eat. Everything. They control the entirety of soil and air quality. Everything they do benefits the planet and everyone on it. So, if you have a kid, they're going to cause a lot of trash, a lot of pollution, and overall, as much as you might love them, they're genuinely bad for the planet.
Yeah.
If a human disappears, the planet's better off and more fertile. But that's not the case. That's the opposite for an insect. They are the foundation of all life. I like the job they're doing for me on a daily basis. So I used to find them scary too, because my mom was scared of them. She has arachnophobia. So she would scream at this tiny little raisin with legs on the floor, and I would be like, oh, okay, that's dangerous. And I'd be scared too. But then that made me fascinated. I was like, why is this tiny little dot so powerful? Why does it scare everyone? What's so amazing about the dot on the floor? So I started to learn about them. And when I learned about them, I was like, they think, they feel, they're unique, they have experiences. Fruit flies feel trauma. They have an emotional capacity. A lot of people don't know that. They think they have
That's
tiny brains.
crazy. I didn't know
any
that.
Yeah.
What about
they're actually
mosquitoes?
individuals. Yeah, they're individuals too.
So I shouldn't kill mosquitoes?
I don't. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I don't. I just what I do, like, because flying insects, most species most species of mosquitoes don't actually attack you or try to drink your blood. It's one species, and it's the females of that species, not the males.
Those bitches.
I know they ruined it for all of the other mosquitoes. But they're actually really important in the environment, and they play a really key role in ecosystems. Their larvae feed loads of different animals and stuff that we need to exist to survive. So they're just trying to exist. They're not trying to hurt you. So what I do is whenever there are animals flying in my house, I switch off all the lights, stand outside, shine a torch. They all fly towards the open window that the torch is shining through, and then I close the window. And in like a few seconds, they're all gone. All gone. Every single one of them. And I like that because they don't have to die in my house, because they spend their whole life eating and trying to survive. The odds of them being eaten are so high. Barely any of them ever make it to their final stage where they get to fly and have sex, like the two greatest things in their entire life. And it's like they only get to do them for a few days at the end if they survive everything else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want them to waste it flying into a wall in my house. I'm like, you've got no time. Get out there, fly, fuck, have your life. So like, I'm like, no. And I don't want, like, I'm more panicked for them. Like, I'm not scared of them. I'm fine with them chilling in my house. I have spiders that run around and stuff, and I'm cool with them. But like, I just don't want the moths and all the flying insects to waste their tiny window for all the good shit in my house. So I shine the torch, they fly out the window, I close it, they live their lives, and I live mine.
That's an interesting way to do that. I'll have to try doing that. I like the idea.
As well, like, if you're scared of, like, dirt and diseases, you know what's more diseasey than a bug? A dead bug. Because it's a rotten bit of smush. So, like, that's more gross than having the bug in the house, is smushing their guts and their poop and their entrails into your skin or the wall. So squishing them is less sanitary. So I would say, like, even if you don't like them and don't want them in your house, removing them peacefully is probably more hygienic for you.
That's a good point. Anita's saving one bug at a time. One bug a day. One of us will be like, oh, you'll see a spider and you'll go to kill it, and then you'll be like, oh shoot, I remember what Anita said. Now we're all gonna have that. I'm not gonna kill any bugs, chat.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stop.
That's awesome.
And I'll tell Ludwig to put them outside. Actually, Ludwig is pretty good with taking them outside. One time we went to, oh my god, this was actually traumatizing. So I'm afraid of bugs. I go to let my dog outside, and oh, there's a cute squirrel outside. I go let my dog outside and I'm leaning against the door. Normally I'd walk out with him, but like this night I just happened to lean against the door. And then I realize I'm having a hard time focusing my eyes. And I'm like, what is happening? Like I'm like blinking or whatever. And then all of a sudden my eyes come into focus. And the reason I was having a hard time focusing my eyes is because across the entire like entrance of the door, and this is a sliding glass door, so it has like the two frames, was a spider web that had to have been built in hours because I walk out there every day. And if I were to walk out, it would have been right on my face. And I'm like, you know, adjusting. I'm like, what the hell? Like, where did this come from? I look out and it was a spider at least this big. Like, it like, I think they were called, chat looked it up. It's called like an orb weaver or a weaver spider or something like that. Orb weavers. Yeah. Orb weaver. It was so big. It was so big. I started screaming. And so my dog runs inside and I said to Ludwig, I was like, please get rid of that spider. I can't handle it. I don't believe he killed it. I had to leave the room because I couldn't watch it. But he has a hard, like, he'll be like, I won't kill spiders that are like too big because it just feels like they like, you know, they're like little animals at that point. But oh my God. Oh, it was so scary.
Yeah, I mean, my ex went to Australia and he was popping a spot in the mirror, and then his eyes adjusted. He felt something brush his face, and his eyes adjusted, and there was a giant wolfman spider, like what they called it's not a wolf spider. Well, I can't remember anyway. There's a name for them. They get huge. Like some of them are so big you can't put a bucket over them. And it's his leg hair just huntsman. Thank you. The huntsman, like his legs touched his face, and he's like, "What's?" And he went, and he just like he made a silent gasp, and then he turned into a chicken. He was like, and he like clambered out the bathroom, closed the door, put everything in front of the door, and was like, "Boo!" And his friend who was staying with him was like, "What?" He couldn't even speak. He was just like, and like he ran for help. He went to get the guy who lives there to go and sort it out. He was like, "There's a monster in that!" And the Australian's just like, "Oh, it's just a wolf. It's just a wolf spider, like just a huntsman." And he just picks it up with his hands and is like, "There you go, mate." And just like,
so it was on the mirror. It was like crawling, and so its leg, like, is that what
touched him? Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it. I wouldn't live. I would fall over and die in that moment. I don't think you understand. That is so awful. That is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it because I have a phobia of tentacles. It's hilarious why. My chat laughs about the reason why. But I love octopus. They're so interesting as people. I really appreciate them. But when I see their tentacles, I break into a sweat. It feels like my gut's gonna, like, I don't know, turn into each other or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm terrified of them. And I still, I'm like, "You're very cool and I'm glad you exist, but stay the fuck away from me." And I've actually met one, and I put my hand down to meet her. Her name was Jeff, and she just stroked my finger really gently and then pulled away. And she was like, "It's okay." She just comforted me and was like, "It's all right. I won't do anything to you." And she's normally like really handsy with people and like tugs on them and plays with them. But with me, I'm the only person. She just went, "It's okay."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And where does the fear come from?
So everyone's wishing me a happy birthday. I guess it's past midnight.
Oh,
Thank
is
you,
it?
everyone. Yeah.
Happy
birthday!
Nina's 31!
Thank you so much,
Yay!
everyone.
How exciting.
Yeah. I'm probably going to have a little slice of cheesecake in a bit then.
Good, yeah. I wish you
because,
were closer. I would make you a cake. I force everyone around me. I make them cakes.
I would love to make a cake with you one day.
Yeah, we can find one.
It might be messy, but yeah.
I don't care. I'm down.
Good.
I think it'd be
I'd
fun.
love to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, you want to know why I'm scared of tentacles?
Yes.
I had all these VCRs as a kid, and one of them, so I used to watch the Care Bears on repeat, and My Little Pony, and like all the Disney movies and stuff, and drive my mom mental like a good kid does. And one day there was a new cartoon mixed amongst my stuff. My dad liked anime and manga, and my dad had a spicy manga with, I think it was called like Legend of the Demon Womb or something. I don't know. Its actual name is Oratsu Kodoji, and I hope I don't get cancelled for saying that because I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
And basically, there are these giant tentacle monsters that mate with everybody and like just tear everyone apart and stuff. And it's like really gory and like terrifying. And like I picked this up when I was like really, really little, thinking it was a new cartoon. And I don't remember much about it except there was a severed boob on the floor at one point. Like I don't even remember much
Oh
about the tentacles.
my god.
But then the day after, like my grandma was reading Mr. Tickle, one of the Mr. Men. It was the Mr. Men books, and it was Mr. Tickle. And Mr. Tickle is like a circle with a big grin and long extendable arms that come and tickle you. And the way that these arms were wiggling and extending and coming through the window to get to this girl to tickle her, just I was like, ah! And I had nightmares about Mr. Tickle. And then anything with tentacles or extendy arms or anything like that just makes me like, ah! Everything in me is just like, no!
Oh my god.
And it won't go away.
Have you tried rewatching that VHS? Like finding the movie and rewatching it?
I did.
Uh-huh.
It did not do a thing. I just was like,
Wow.
I could because I didn't remember anything about it. It was so long ago, and all it did was make me realize exactly why it fucked me up. But I was like, it didn't actually make anything go away.
That's amazing. That's crazy. Oh my god. What a fun thing to be, because everyone's afraid of something, and that's such a good one to be afraid of. You know what I'm saying? Because you have a funny story. It doesn't affect your daily life. Like, you know, chance of you interacting with a squid is very. That's so interesting. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But like octopus are really cool because they have such a complex language that we haven't deciphered it all yet. But they don't speak verbally; they speak with color. So they change their bodies color to say things to each other, and it's a very complex language, and it's very cool. Cuttlefish do the same. So they have a lot of color receptive cones, meaning they perceive shades and colors and light spectrums that we don't see on a day-to-day
Oh,
basis.
interesting.
Yeah, and they're very, very smart. They have like neurons all over their bodies. They have neurons in all through their tentacles and everything. Their entire body's a brain. So like they're very, very intelligent. And Jeff, the octopus that I actually met, she lived at the National Marine Aquarium, and she was so smart that they would give puzzles to the interns there that were very promising and very intelligent scientists. They would be marine biologists and people like that, and they wouldn't be able to solve these puzzles and get the treat from inside. But she would be able to solve it in like less than an hour when they were struggling with it for days. And she actually
Oh
made a
my
habit of
God.
sneaking. She'd sneak out of her enclosure and eat fish from other enclosures, then go back into her own and lock it behind her so they wouldn't even know she'd left, and people were wondering where the fish were going. She's like a super genius. And I loved everything about her except that she had tentacles.
That is fascinating. Oh my god.
Uh-huh.
That is so cool. It's bad for the
Mhm.
other fish, but
Yeah.
have you watched that Netflix show, like My Octopus Teacher?
No, everyone recommends it to me, but
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Oh,
if I
right.
watch that, it's gonna
The
have to
tentacle-
be in like
yeah.
a few minutes at a time because it's gonna be terrifying. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen
Sure.
it, no, but I've heard great things about it too, and I just realized that why would I ask? I just realized you're afraid of it, so why would you see it? But it's also, I feel like something you'd be into at the same time. But
Yeah, I want to see it, but like, I have to figure out a way to do it.
that's
Maybe I'll
so
just listen
interesting.
to it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Mm.
Or do it like this is how I used to watch scary movies, like this, so you could plug your ears when you needed to and close. It's perfect. Perfect way to do it. Maybe you can just do that.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm 31 now.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Also terrifying. That's
Yeah.
how I feel. Every year I get older, I'm like, okay.
How old are you now?
I am 27. I always say I'm 25 though. Right, chat? 25 again.
My mom's 50, and she's still hot. So
Hell yeah.
like she taught me, and so did my grandma, really, that age is just a number, because like my grandma, she passed away last year, I believe, but she was amazing because she was in this marriage, she had several kids, and you know, she'd settled down and she was in her 50s, and she got a divorce at that age and went out and found the love of her life, got married to the love of her life, and spent the rest of her life with him.
Wow.
it taught me, because a lot of people try to rush me. They come into my stream and they're like, stop wasting your time on here. You need to find a husband before you're spent and old and no one will have you. And the first thing I say to that is, if I meet a guy who wouldn't have loved me if he met me when I'm old, I don't want him anyway because I will still get old.
Yeah.
So that's not really a permanent relationship that is worth sacrificing the prime of my life for anyway, if he's that shallow. So if I can wait and meet him in my 50s and he'll still love me, then maybe that's a relationship worth having. But I still only want that. If I have to choose between the life that I want or a relationship, I would choose getting into my relationship later. But
True.
aside from that, like my grandma's taught me that you can fall in love at any age and that you're not spent, that there's no such thing. That, you know, you have value and you can make people happy no matter what age you are, and you can fall in love at any age and it's never too late. So, from that perspective, that she's an inspiration. Also, my mom is really attractive in her 50s, and guys still fight over her and try to seduce her at that age, and she looks really young for her age and everything. And she was 30, she was my age when she started going out to parties and things and drinking absinthe and having fun and winning
We
drinking
love
competitions.
that. Yeah.
So, like, I feel like this is my prime because it's when I give the zero fucks about what other people think.
True.
So I feel like, yeah, I probably looked better in my 20s, but I feel better in my 30s because I care more about what I want and I'm living my life on my terms, which I really love. And I'm very, very happy to be living that way, regardless of whether there's a man anywhere in the room. Like, I feel like if I got a partner now, they'd have to accept that my life wouldn't be about them at all.
Yeah.
They'd be just along for the ride.
That's a good way. That you are so smart. I have to say is you have such a good like head on your shoulders. I wish I could think that way. I think I've been trained the opposite, and I'm like, oh God, I'm getting uglier, I'm getting fatter, I'm falling apart. And you're so good at being like, I'm in my fucking prime. Like all I know is like I'll get better and better, and it's admirable. I hope one day I will have a more leveled out brain.
Well, just remember, like, you're great because, like, even if you end up single in the future, hopefully you and Ludwig are together forever and you're happy and everything. But even worst case scenario, and you have to go date again, the thing is, I have met women of every shape and size and age who have found love. There is no
That's
wrong way
true.
to have a body, and I don't feel like you have to be a supermodel to be loved. So I don't think you need to stress about whether or not you look good enough, because if it's romantic, just find a way to enjoy having a body, because at the end of the day, it's a vehicle that's allowing you to see, smell, taste, and experience a really amazing, rare planet at just the right time to see blue skies and seas and forests and things. That's incredible. It's delivering something absolutely amazing to you every single day. So if you spend your rest of your life hating it and wishing it looked slightly more like that Photoshop bitch on the front cover of something that doesn't even look like that,
Yeah.
then you're just going to end up torturing yourself over the greatest gift you ever had. So I think it's really important and it's really challenging, and we don't win every day, but it's worth fighting for some level of self-love, because it's awesome that we get a body at all, and it doesn't have to look like a porn star's body to be amazing.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I just need to learn that. I've like write that down every day. But I don't know. I've always been that person where I'm like, I have other things. Like I don't need looks. I don't need perfect body. I'm funny. And I've got that. But then like with COVID, I gained like 20 pounds and my mental has just been like shit. I'm like, well, at least I was like kind of skinnier and funny, but now I'm like, oh no. And so it's been a bit of a mind warp, but I appreciate the outlook. I think it's a very good outlook, and I think it's a good way to think about things.
I think people listening to you right now, because you're gorgeous, exactly the way you are right now,
Nice
very
of you.
objectively so. Like, I'm not just being nice, like, objectively, like, you are one of the people that girls wish they looked like. You've got beautiful eyes, you've got beautiful hair, and you've got a lovely figure. And I know it might be larger than you want it to be, but you're still, like, something that most people would want to be, regardless of how you feel about it. And I think it's probably very comforting for people in chat to hear a beautiful woman say, I have insecurities too. I mean,
Yeah.
some people don't empathize, but like, I think you're a good example of, you never arrive There is no point where you'll be happy with yourself. You'll probably, no matter what you look like, even if you're as beautiful as Cutie here, you're still gonna find things to hate about your body. So like, I think that self-esteem is not one of these things that you can ever earn. Like if you think you
Yeah.
grind and get skinny enough, you'll never get skinny enough to love yourself. You'll never get pretty enough to love yourself. And even the beautiful ones who you think would love themselves don't. It's not really about whether or not you meet the standard. It's about whether or not you meet your standard. And that stops being as hard when you stop thinking that there's a goal you'll hit where you'll feel okay, because that's not how it works. Even the skinniest people on the planet, like the supermodels, feel desperately insecure about their weight and their size and their looks and their skin. That's not how self-acceptance works. And the earlier you get there, the less stressful life is, because if you're not battling yourself and hating on yourself every day, life gets easier because you put that energy into stuff that actually makes you happy.
Life lessons with Anita. Who knew we needed them? We needed all of these. This is good. I think this is great.
But
I
like
love
this is gonna be like, if you go by conventional beauty standards, this is the most beautiful you're ever gonna be. Don't waste
I
it
know, I
hating how you
hate
look.
that. See, no, but I hate that though. Conventional beauty, because then I'm like, every year, that's what gives me anxiety. Is like every year, oh no, like I'm losing it.
I used
know.
to have it too, though. I used
Yeah.
to feel like that all the time, and it used to really bother me. And I think as I've gone into my 30s, and people are still attracted to me, even though I'm not my type, and I don't know why. And I'm thinking to myself, like, at this point, I care less. I want to maintain my weight because I want to be healthy and I want to kick ass. I want the next guy to like be inappropriate at TwitchCon for me to just throw them through a window and get
Yeah,
on with my life.
that'd be awesome.
So I'm like, I'm trying to work out. I'm trying to get big and get muscles. That's what I'm trying. So I'm like trying to have a healthy diet. I say as there's takeout and cheesecake behind me.
Yeah,
Like,
it's your birthday.
yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah. And so I still want to be healthy, but I have a different relationship with my body now. And I think being single for ages has helped me tremendously. Because
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, we know that guys watch porn and we know what they're attracted to, whether they say it or not, or whether they hold you accountable for not matching it or not. We know that like the people we're in a relationship with are more attracted to other people. Like those are beautiful people that can meet
Yeah,
those standards.
of course.
Are there accessible 24/7. And some days that used to make me feel like bad porn because I'd never be anything like that. And I feel like when I wasn't ever matching up to somebody else's standards, I started to feel cooler matching up to my own, and I feel like mine are healthier and I'm
Yeah,
happier.
for sure.
So I think I needed some room away, and I don't think I'll date anyone who watches porn anymore.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to filter out, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that's helped me. I think being single's really helped me. I've had some time alone to like myself, and I'm really glad I got here.
Yeah. Well, you have a good head on your shoulders. It's very admirable.
Thank you. You're
I
so
hope-
nice.
I hope to think like you someday. I really do. It seems like a great way of thinking.
I feel like it's a 30s thing. I think a lot of people get much more chill about stuff.
You know, I've
Is
been
yours
listening to Amy Poehler's book. I like to listen to like celebrities' autobiographies. I find them fascinating. And that's what she
Yeah.
was saying. She was like, I loved turning 30 because I just stopped caring. Like I just didn't care anymore. And I was like, oh, that sounds nice. Like that sounds enjoyable.
Yeah,
So,
because it takes you 10 years to stop taking other people's expectations seriously.
yeah. We'll have to excited to do that. Hopefully I'll start
don't know.
feeling that way sooner before I'm 30.
What? Well, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of time. I think you're really, really wise, and you give me like this, you seem really responsible. Like this is why people say you got big sister vibes, because
Yeah.
you do. You seem responsible, calm, chill. You seem very like at peace. Like I know you say you rage, but you also have like this very at peace, kind of quietly confident vibe going on. It's awesome.
It's very
So I
nice of
reckon
you.
you're if you haven't got there already, then it sounds like you're close anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, years of therapy, that'll get you there, right? That's how it works.
Yeah. I really wish I could keep chatting with you, but I don't want to. I didn't tell the mods I'd be going over time.
It's okay. It's okay. Celebrate your birthday. Have fun. Happy birthday. I'd be excited. We can do anything in the future. I'm very excited. Whatever you want to do. Never hesitate to reach out to me when you're bored. I promise. I am always bored. So
Okay.
I'm down to do anything. We can do a painting stream. We could do anything. So
Yeah,
It'd be
I
fun.
do art. Have you seen my art?
Yeah. That's why I
Yeah.
said it. Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
We could do something.
Awesome.
All right. Happy birthday, Anita. Happy birthday. I hope it's amazing. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
spending some time with me. That was cool.
I loved it. I'll catch you again soon.
All right. Bye.